Welcome back to Sci-Fi and Friends podcast. It has been a minute. I have gone on a long journey and have undergone many trials with this podcast. I removed myself from the previous studio to try to save some money and get into a bigger space. That did not work out. I lost the second studio. I actually was renting this studio for a month, and then I didn't have the funds to keep it going. So then I had to move back out. And eventually, my brother, Casye Seifert, started his own podcast titled Best Case Scenario. And he was also looking for a studio. So lo and behold, it all worked out. We came together, and now we are splitting this space for his show and my show. So we're back. I'm very excited to be back. I missed doing these. It's a whole new setup. We don't have the table anymore. We got some new cameras. It's a new space. It's actually smaller than the last studio. I don't know if you can tell or not, but very excited to be back. This episode is special just because it is Casey and I doing it. It's a dual posted episode where we will both post it on our respected channels. His channel, his podcast is called Best Case Scenario. You can find it on YouTube. Mine will be on Sci-Fi and Friends, or my YouTube, IamColt, and will be on Spotify as well. So we both sit down in the new studio. We talk about all kinds of fun stuff, break into a little bit of scotch. And we just have it's a great inaugural brother podcast. I had a really good time doing it, and I hope you enjoy. All right. Peace.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed with most creatives, that like everybody wants to, not everybody, but everybody wants to like do a creative outlet and usually showcase it. It's like everybody can do that. Everybody can do their thing. Mm-hmm. You know, we know a candle maker. We know jiu-jitsu guys. We know all these different realms. Nobody wants to put it in the software and edit it. Like, it is the worst part, or like the most painstaking part.
Yes.
But it's like everybody has their little niche that they like want to share with the world,
right,
but they don't want to put it in the software and actually cut it up and take the time, because it is extremely time consuming.
Yes. And the level of different like skill levels, like there's entry level editor, like put clips together,
right,
fine. Then there's like moderately, above, and then there's like above average, and there's like master, which is, I don't know, people you see on TikTok or Instagram Reels they're so captivating and the editing is so well done. It's like, that's a master. I had someone reach out to me to do book trailers, which I've heard about before. Like someone writes a book and then you make like a 30-second trailer, which is like, this is what the book's about, and it's animated and whatnot. And it's like, why don't you do that? Like, I mean, it's saying I'm agreeing with what you're saying. This person wrote this fantasy book or whatever, and they want to market it, and they're like asking me, and it's like, well, I'm doing my stuff, like.
Which I'm always for rent. I mean, if the price is right.
Well, it almost never is.
But it almost never is. They think, oh, just you know how to do it. Throw it into your thing. It's like sifting through clips. Like for me, the fun part is not so much in podcasts, but in like more creative things. I work on Slow Motion's Garage channel on YouTube, and the hardest part for me is going through all the clips and saying, this is what I'm going to use and this is what I'm not going to use. Right. Because usually there's hundreds of gigabytes of footage.
Hours.
Literally hours. Yeah. And I watch every second of it, basically.
Yeah.
So that's like...
multiple times.
That's the hardest part. And then the fun part for me is sound effects, music. Because I don't know. It's just... I think that's like the glue that puts it all together. Because you can have your clips in order and... all it is the footage audio, and it's just, there's nothing there. And then you add music to it, and all of a sudden it becomes this like grand epic that is like fun to watch and enjoyable and captivating. But the putting it together, that's what takes the longest, for sure.
Do you find when you do that, when you're editing something like that and you're putting it together, constitutes for probably 60% of the edit? And it's almost like the exponential curve to where you're just like, you make no progress. You're just chopping, cutting, moving, watching, chopping, cutting, moving, watching. And then suddenly you kind of have a couple clips, and then you got a couple sound effects, and you got a couple, and then all of a sudden just takes off. Like the narrative, the video itself, like
has been built.
It has been built. Like the foundation is there. Now you can really enhance, whatever. To me, that's about how every edit goes for me. The first 20 hours or whatever is just drudgery.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the beginning stages where you open it up, you have no timeline.
Oh my
you just have a library full of clips, and you're just you either kind of have something in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing, I edited the wedding recently for you. It's like one thing if you're there and you know what you got,
right?
Then you know how like the vibe of the wedding was, who was cool and who you want to showcase and who was not cool, who you don't want to showcase.
I can remember shots. Like I'm taking the shot, I'm like, that's definitely making it.
Right. But then, if you're an editor that only gets the clips, I think that was probably I've done a few for slow motion, but that's probably like the first time I've had a library of clips that I did not know what was in there. So then it's like, how do you build a narrative out of, you have to literally watch all the clips and then, like you said, probably watch them all again because now you have an idea of what you have to use, and then watch them all again and then start to build off of, okay, I know we can end over here and this is a beautiful shot, so it's going somewhere. Like you just know it's being used.
Right.
I find relief when I get to delete a clip. Like, there's nothing here. There's absolutely nothing. I just get rid of it, and it's like trimming the fat or something.
You reclaim the energy.
It's
like you do not have to watch that anymore.
Yep.
You can just literally forget it ever exists.
Yeah.
And focus on the other stuff or whatever.
So as far as podcast goes, do you prefer podcasts that are highly edited or raw conversation?
Like personal,
yeah,
like
personal,
what I'm listening to.
Personal preference
of podcasts.
I'm thinking of
what's a highly edited podcast?
I think Andrew Scholl's is
highly edited.
I don't know. I don't watch much of old Scholl's.
I want to watch it today,
but I feel like sometimes
it's got Trump on. That's why
they'll add in sound effects or swipes on transitions.
Andrew Schultz?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch much of him, but I've seen podcasts that it's like through the whole thing, there's little snippets of editing versus like a Rogan or honestly like 95% of podcasts. Yeah. That's just a hard cut.
I don't care what type of podcast. It's all about the content for me. If it's something I'm very interested in, like I'm thinking like a Lex Friedman, who's kind of on the fringe of stuff, bring on a computer scientist that no one's ever heard of unless you're in that field. I have not heard of this person, but I'm interested. Like one thing like that bugs me is when someone is speaking, and this has happened to me when people are on stage, mainly like at church. I'm thinking at church, I've heard people speak at Riverton Friends, and they'll say this thing, and they'll say, I could go deeper, but we'll keep moving on. And I'm the one that's like, let's go all the way. Like, let's go as deep as possible, and then we'll reroute. And I know they're locked for time and all this, but the thing with podcasts is we're not locked for time. We can go for 5 hours. Lex Friedman's done a 5 hour. Sam Harris did a 5 hour podcast. Doesn't matter. We can go as deep. We can touch on every subject, every topic, every terminology that needs to be touched on. And that's what I'm about. So for me, it's content and guest. I don't really care if it's super long. If I love the guest, I love the content. And I like that raw stuff because I get to be with the person. I get to be with the guest and the host. I think that's why I like Rogan so much. I've spent thousands of hours with the guy, So I can't really think of any podcasts that are like, well, okay, I have one. And I do like it a lot. And it's very and it's audio only, and it's very highly edited. It's similar to NPR's Radio Lab, similar to that, but it is directed towards hacking and cybersecurity, and it's called Darknet Diaries. It's very highly produced. There's audio interviews. They have phone call recordings. They have all kinds of stuff, but they build this awesome narrative, usually around a mega hack. Maybe like not like hacks like where Israel hacked the Iranian nuclear facility. Like they do have an episode on that, but more of like unknown hacks where you didn't really know about it. Like some guy hacked AT&T.
Verizon recently.
Yeah, they probably had that some. But I do like that podcast quite a bit. But it is very directed. It's highly produced, but its subject matter is like, you know what you're getting into. We're not going to go fringe, But yeah.
Yeah, I would think most people, including myself, it's like the entertainment value is the conversation.
Right.
So I don't need transitions to be special and have a little, switch to them or, play a little tone that's supposed to make you laugh. It's like, no, I just want to hear the conversation. But to that point, there's a D&D podcast that Lance put me on to. It's purely entertainment, but I think for that, because it's purely entertainment, because it's like whimsical, they don't know what's going to happen. It's like roll the dice.
They're live streaming their session, their game.
It's like a storytelling thing. So like the one I listen to, they're all parents. Their kids get abducted by aliens or something, and they all get sent to this alternate dimension. And then it's like, they fight these guys, and then do you win the fight, or does the arrow that the guy shoots hit you, or does it not hit you?
But isn't that D&D?
It's like a D&D framework. It's like
I know. But I mean, like, isn't that isn't like that the rules of...
It's like we were talking about, you can have a Harry Potter D&D,
right.
You can have any subject matter D&D, and
Right, so the podcast is them streaming this, or like recording their session.
At least recording their session.
Yeah.
But...
that's kind of cool.
Kind of to your point, though, it's like if it's highly produced and highly edited, it's not the worst. Like, because it's entertainment,
right?
It's because it's a little fun story that I don't really. It's not a in-depth conversation,
right?
To where a typical podcast is like, leave that stuff out.
I don't know,
because I would rather just hear the conversation. That's why I'm listening. I don't want to hear extra music or extra sound effects. I don't need all that.
No, the only time I want that kind of stuff or I care is like in a reel or a TikTok where it's like a clip of the podcast. I'm thinking of Schultz because I see a lot of clips from Schultz, but they'll add in images, like when they're talking about Trump's picture comes up or something. They'll add in music, they'll add in sound effects, and they'll linger on a joke that's funny, but they like linger on the guest being like, or whatever. That's fine because it gets me interested. One, it either gets me interested in the episode where I gotta go listen to that, or two, it makes me relive the moment. Like, I thought that was so funny, and the way you guys edit it makes it even funnier.
But also, you don't open up TikTok to sit there for 2 hours on the same video. Maybe multiple videos because that's TikTok. But
the longest video I watched on TikTok is probably 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and it's all about Diddy.
So it started off with subject matter that you're interested
right.
in. It didn't have to hook you. You're already hooked because you're listening.
Right.
I'm sure there was a hook at the beginning. Did you know this about Diddy? Whatever.
Go on.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's like TikTok in particular is specifically for short form.
Yeah.
So they have to hook you immediately, and then they have to keep you with quick transitions and things sliding by the screen that keep changing and keep your attention rather than keep you scrolling. So, I mean, that's a different format. You're in a different head. You're not going to start a Rogan podcast and expect to jump to the next Rogan podcast after 30 seconds.
No. And that's, that is kind of what I've been thinking about with X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, because they are getting into the video world. Like, if you get on there, I don't know, I'm on there every day, but if you get on there, content creators, Lex Friedman and Dr. Huberman, I don't know if Rogan has yet or not, but they post entire 3-hour podcasts on X. In fact, on the way over, Schultz has Trump, and I thought it was a trailer for it, so I'm watching it, and I realized it's 2 hours on X, which is interesting because, like you said, your headspace is different. Like, I go to YouTube, I might watch a 4-hour video, I go to TikTok, unless I'm very dialed in, I'm only going to go a few minutes. It's got to be something super captivating. I mean, even TikTok Live, I've never spent more than a few minutes on TikTok
usually
Live.
Have you seen like the Wake Me Up?
Yes.
I mean, it's painful to watch. The lives are painful, cringy. So I don't think there's been a live that I've been like, I want to hang out here.
Yeah.
So
there have been people, I'll say people, that have less than 100 watchers. If you have over 100, I feel like I get lost in the crowd and like you're not gonna acknowledge me, so I don't give a shit. But if you have less than 100, if I put a comment in, a lot of times they'll acknowledge my comment.
Is that why you watch, to be acknowledged?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, big time. Well, okay, hang on. Not to be acknowledged so much, but just to conversate. Like it's almost like a video chat, but I'm in the comment section type of thing. And from the lives that I'm doing, I'm either asking a question or just commenting on something in the background. Like, I don't know, they have a music poster, like, what's your favorite Eminem song? I'm just trying to, I don't know, lonely type thing, talking to people. But I don't really know where I was going with all that. But there was a TikTok live last night of Lieutenant Dan. Do you know who Lieutenant Dan is?
Of the actor?
No, he's no. This guy, Lieutenant Dan, is a guy that lives in Tampa on a boat, and he's staying in his boat with this fucking Cat 6 hurricane coming in, and the TikTok live had 20,000 people watching and donating to him, saying, "Get the fuck out of there! Like, you're dead! Like, there's no way
for sure."
And he's like, not to get too far into this, but he's like, 5 years ago, God told me to come to Tampa and get a boat. So I'm here and I have a boat and God's going to take care of me. And we're all like, dude, beautiful story. Love it. We need to get you out of here. This is off the charts hurricane.
Yeah.
Anyway, pull back. Don't watch a lot of TikTok live. X is being posting longer videos, which is an interesting play because everybody's trying to catch up with TikTok. TikTok really took over everything.
It took over everything.
Everything. YouTube did shorts, which they're all right.
Well, TikTok changed the wavelength of these socials, if you ask me. Because now, like, there's Facebook Reels, which I think, as far as quality of video, I bet 60% of the Facebook Reels I've watched, I want that time back in my life.
Yeah.
I am upset that I lost time of my life watching this video of you fix a hole in your drywall or something, just something.
Yeah.
Let's pack my husband's lunch today. No, we're not going to do that. I'm going to keep scrolling. I mean, now I've learned,
right.
I can catch it pretty quick, but I go to TikTok and I don't know. I probably watch 80% of my feed and skip 20%, So like the quality of TikToks is far superior than any other Instagram Reels. X doesn't really have shorts, but you can post shorts, obviously. But I think TikTok like ripped the attention span of the people to where all these other platforms were like, oh no, we gotta do shorts. And now you look at YouTube shorts. It's like the odds of any random YouTube video. This is, of course, tailored feeds.
Right.
But you look at any given YouTube video, it's going to have 100 views to, I don't know, 250,000 or something, a huge range, obviously. But most shorts have, 3.2 million likes, which means 10 million views. It's like the amount of viewers on shorts is way higher than any long form video. So I think TikTok just like changed the whole game because for me, or probably any like beginner, I'm not going to call myself a filmmaker, but content creator, maybe. It's like, I want to make a movie. I want a slow beginning and we're going to build up and we're going to have tension and then we're going to get to this climax and then we're going to have a resolution. It's like, that is dead besides an actual movie, unless you actually make a movie. Otherwise it's, you better hook them at the beginning. You better keep them hooked. You better give them something they weren't expecting. So when they click on your next video, it's like, the thumbnail and everything is already captivating. Right. But I know there's something in here that even I'm not expecting, I couldn't even come up with, because the last video, there was this much extra involved that was, cherry on top. And if you don't have the cherry on top, somebody else has a cherry on top. That, it's kind of a survival of the fittest in some way. Like if you're not keeping up, if you're not upping your competition, you're going to fall behind. Like there is no stagnation. You're going to go down or you're going to go up.
I think you literally just described like the evolution of content, if that's what you want to call it. Before it was movies. It depends how far you want to go back. Radio, cave paintings, whatever. But we'll start at movies. Like before it was movies and theater. Like you have to go to the theater. You watch a movie in theater was 6 months or 8 months later before you could ever get your hands on a DVD or VHS. And, there was a lot of good stuff that was made like that. But then we eventually went into network broadcasting and whatever. We can jump forward to where we are now. But like whatever you just said right there, that is perfect. Like that is the state of content that we are in. And Mr. Beast actually had something where he said, these people will come work for him, talented videographers and content makers or whatever. They'll come work for Mr. Beast and they'll work for several years, and then they'll say, all right, I'm quitting. He's like, why? Where are you going? He's like, we're going to go work in Hollywood. We're going to go work in, he goes, why? This is the future. This is what is taking over. Like you're taking a step back, not forward. And I just always thought that was pretty profound of him to say. And it's true. And you just said it too. Like you just described exactly the process of, well, first the YouTube videos were really long and 20 minutes, and what some of those vloggers, Casye Seifert or whatever, that's a pretty long vlog, and he's just talking to the camera or whatever. Used to be able to do that, and now it's continually just getting shorter and shorter, but not in the sense of it's the content, the foundation isn't worse. It's just presented in a different fashion, in a faster fashion. It's for instance, watching someone mow a yard. Before it might literally just be and a voiceover. Now it's like and you get to see the finished product at the very end, and you get the dopamine hit and you move on or whatever. It's definitely changed and continue to change. Yeah. Which is interesting to think about, that how come podcasts are long and people ingest them.
Well, what's interesting to me about podcast is the video. Because yes, I don't know, would you say most it's probably almost 50-50 now, have video versus don't have video.
Like I said, the only one I can think of that I listen to is Darknet Diaries, and it's more of a radio program or whatever you want to call it.
But I for sure prefer a podcast to have video. Now, why do I give a shit about video when all I want to hear is the audio? Like, I know facial expressions, tell body language. That's so telling of how the conversation actually went. And I guess anymore, people have a screen that they have. So your mom's house, half their show is clips. Yeah. So if you're listening to it, you're going to miss half the show of what they're laughing about.
Well, Kill Tony. Kill Tony is a podcast. Like that's how he says it's the #1 live podcast in the world. And he'll say it during the show. Yeah. For those of you just listening, and I have never listened to a Kill Tony. I've always watched. I don't know how anyone just listens. Like, that just baffles me.
Yeah. I mean, it's like with Rogan, I guess, not to talk about all these giant podcasters, but like with Rogan, I can listen, and that's not, I don't feel like I'm missing a whole lot. Maybe that's all my hours with Rogan. And it's like, I know what his facial expression is. I know what his laugh is.
It depends. There's like a few episodes where I will only watch. Randall Carlson comes on. He's got his PowerPoints. I have to watch. But most of the time, yes, I can listen, no problem.
Then it goes back to the conversation as the entertainment and not any sort of video feed. But as far as a production standpoint, it's like if I had to record a podcast and didn't have cameras, and this person's here and I have my equipment but no cameras, I will record it. But I would much prefer to have cameras. I think it just, I don't know, it adds like 30 or 40% quality to the video when it's like, that's why I love the wide shot, because you can see how we're situated, how we're directing ourselves at each other. It just tells so much more to the story than just a conversation. But I mean, it all started with audio, so that is the most important.
Well, it's the easiest. It's like the easiest to consume. Put your headphones in. You want to do dishes, you can listen and do something else. You want to mow your yard or whatever.
How many mindless jobs are out there to where it's like, here's what you got to do. Anything, mindless being you can do it while partaking in something else. Right.
But then the audio or the video came along and it just added a whole nother depth. But like you're saying, I mean, most of the stuff, they don't add anything besides two people or more people talking.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something to that. There's like some sort of subconscious, understanding that enhances the experience just because you can, like you said, just because you can see them, and then you can see them interact and like, oh, this person's getting heated, or this person, like maybe with just audio, you maybe wouldn't have picked up on that, or I don't know.
But
I
I
prefer it as well.
It's like that meme of the kid eating cereal, and on the back of the cereal box is like two women laughing.
Oh, yeah.
And he's laughing too.
Yeah.
It almost gives that to where, whoever's listening to this podcast, they're actually sitting right here.
Yes.
They're sitting right here.
Right.
We don't hear what they say, but they have their own thoughts thoughts and opinions on anything that we cover. But they feel like they're sitting right here.
Right. That's how I feel. That's why if I ever saw Rogan, it'd be disorienting if I saw him in the wild, because like I've been with you a lot, dude. Like I could tell you what you like, what you don't like. I could probably answer the question. Like if you get answered a question, I could probably answer it for you. I could be like, he's gonna say this, I remember one time I was doing that to Jordan Peterson. I just listened so much to Jordan Peterson, and I was so deep. And then one time he's on stage, and then it was an AMA, and someone asked him, what superhero would you be if you could be? And I just sat, I was like, Doctor Strange. And he's like, oh, probably Doctor Strange. And I was like, oh shit, I've been spending way too much time with this guy. Like I am way deep into his psyche. But I thought I would think about that before, when I was really doing a lot of sci-fi and friends, and I was getting a lot of feedback from people. Like they would text me, or they would message me on social and say, oh, love this episode, or really just love this episode after they listened or whatever. And then as I'm walking around in the wild, I'm thinking, and I see that person in the wild, I'm thinking, you spent 3 hours with me. Like, don't forget where they're coming to, like where they are coming to me. And I'm just seeing this person for the first time in a week or 2 weeks or whatever. This person spent 3 hours with me. Either I was in their ears or they were watching me. And so they have a different perspective of who I am, which is really strange, because now I'm going meta into their head, trying to reconstruct what they think about me trying to match those expectations in a good way. Like if they think I'm cool, I want to be cool. If they think I'm talkative, I want to be talkative. Some days I don't want to be talkative. Some days I just want to punch this bag and, train and go home. But I'm thinking in my mind, like, they just sat 3 hours with you and all you did was talk. If you don't talk now, it could be weird. But I thought a lot about that with just like the people that I know, and how that changes their perspective on me and the guests too. Ryan Mossberg, for instance, he just opened up a gym, boxing gym, and there are specific people that came to the gym because of the podcast. They said, "Oh, I loved you. I loved you ever since the first episode of the podcast." I don't know if they said my name, but Sci-Fi Friends. But they said the podcast, and he's like, "What?" I watched it, every episode you were on. He's been on at least twice, if not 3 times, and like that's a huge reason why they go there.
Yeah.
Someone spent 9 hours with Ryan Mossberg, and a lot of that was us being drunk on bourbon and me editing things out. Like, you can't say that, like as much as I free speech, I gotta cut that, dude. Yeah. And I don't do that very often, but when you get bourboned up, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, just the way that a long form podcast will alter perception is fascinating to me.
Yeah. 2 thoughts on that. One is, people will talk to me about a podcast and we're not going to remember everything we talk about.
No,
but things will stick out to the listener.
Right.
Probably even better. Maybe we're just activated. So it's kind of in one ear and out the other almost. We're just spitting, we're just going. And then somebody will be like, yeah, when you talked about this, and it's like, I got to think back. We did talk about that. So that's interesting, to where it's like, I don't even remember what we talked about, but there was something potent in there, which is, obviously good. That's what we're looking for. And then 2 is the guest as well, to where I've had guests come to me and say, I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me and said they enjoyed the podcast and everything, to where it's like a different world. It's a different world for everybody, for us and for them. But, for somebody who's never been on a podcast, which is most of the people around here, and then they get people coming at them like, I didn't know this about you. And, I thought I was thinking this about you, but you told me this on the podcast. to where it really does change perception of the people around, the people that you know who listen to it, which is, I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. It's a little scary because, you know, if you're in conversation, yeah, I think your words hold weight. You know, if you're somewhat respected, if you're slightly respected, your words will hold weight to whoever respects you. But there's something about the recorded art of a podcast that it like makes it more potent or something. Something happens to where, and maybe it's this perception of like on screen.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Of, oh, so-and-so was on TV. Remember back in the day, you'd make like the news channel for your little league team or something. It's just everybody's recording it and like, oh my God, my grandson was on TV. Right. It's like just the fact that you're on TV. Right. And then in today's world where somebody can pull you up, your face, your voice, your likeness, everything on their phone, on their TV, on their computer, anything they have. I don't know if that, you know, magnifies it at all.
Definitely. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Especially if it's the production quality is high.
Yeah.
So you get somebody, and I'm not picking on anybody because we all started somewhere. We started in our bedroom and our mics were blown out and I was copying Rogan word for word. And it's like, we all start somewhere. So I'm not picking on anybody, but you'll see a lot of people start a podcast and like they have one camera angle and it's like tilted and it's not real cinematic or whatever. There's no lighting. There's no depth to anything. The microphones maybe don't give a lot of depth, but it's like at some point when you are able to manipulate the image to make it look appealing, I feel like that enhances the personality, or like what you said, gives weight to the person's words because it's like they're more appealing to look at and listen to. And really it's just like, I'm a normal person, you know, nothing really too special about either, you know, whatever. We're just normal kids or whatever.
I don't know. We're pretty special.
Oh, you know, I know, but you know what I mean? Like overall, a lot of this that you're seeing is just because we set the camera. Like how long do we take this, set the cameras up to make, okay, this looks good. This is, you know, and then the lights, you know, this little addition, there's entire YouTube videos about how to light things, you know, I mean, entire series of YouTube videos. And I think all of that paired with a compelling speaker, it doesn't really have to be a compelling speaker, but that will help. Just putting someone in front of a mic, you're kind of like, this guy has something to say. This person has something to say, right. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, and especially if there's definitely a difference between, you know, some of the podcasts that we've talked about who have mega, you know, celebrities. They just have these huge Jocko or Jordan Peterson or Rogan or whatever.
Hawk to a girl.
Yeah. They have these huge celebrities versus kind of what we do, which is more like on the ground stuff with normal people who are extraordinary, but they're not, you know, the face of, like, no one's going to know John Buck outside of Joplin very much. You know, there might be some people, but overall, like if I say, you know, Rogan, everyone's going to say, yeah, I've heard of him. You know, John Buck? No, you know, and I'm not saying that as in a bad way. It's just that the focus is different. In the caliber of like the presence of the guest. But the cool thing is that our shows kind of enhance that normal common person to where it's like, oh shit, everybody's got a story. Everybody can be interesting. Maybe not everyone is interesting. Everyone can be interesting.
Well, that's the basic foundation of best case scenario.
Yeah.
It is finding, you know, like, why are you the way that you are is really kind of what it boils down to, is like, you are you today. What happened that you got here? And, you know, I have a guest list of people that are inherently interesting to me. And that's been the first however many. And so I think eventually it'll get to, you're not interesting to me, but let's see what,
right.
You know, what,
those are the best.
And maybe they are, you know, usually it's like, whoever I have on, I have particular questions I want to ask that person.
Right.
Not, I don't care about this answer besides anybody but you. And so it gives direction to my podcast, but that's the basic tenets of my podcast is like, why am I attracted to you? Not in a sexual manner or whatever. Not usually. But you know, what is this like magnetic pull that I have towards you? Because if bro metaphysics has taught me anything, it is that like your feeling might not be mutual, but there's like a flowing energy going on that like what's going on here.
It's a hint.
And I'm not the only one feeling it.
Yeah.
You know, you think like, oh, I've been checking her out all week or whatever, and it's like, yeah, she's probably checking you out too.
Right.
You know, it's this weird counterbalance thing, this give and take, this flow state that happens that life has taught me over and over. It's not just you. You know, you're a human, whether you believe in souls and all that, something meta is going on in the realm of maybe not the third dimension, maybe it's
spirit,
maybe it's a different dimension, maybe it's the spiritual realm. Something is happening that you feel this way and that you're attracted to this person, and that, you know, call it God. God is putting you two together. The gears of the universe have turned, and now, you know, you two are finally lining up. Or, you know, it doesn't have to be two individuals. It can be, you know, you found your chess club that you just, you know, that changed your life. And these people, it's going to be the people that change your life, not chess. But maybe chess is the avenue to those people, kind of thing.
Right.
But it's like there's something. I believe that there is definitely something deeper involved that I think we're pre-programmed. The people that lose their mind, who think, you know, they've seen God or something, I think we're pre-programmed. You know, there's a code in us that if you find out too much information, you lose your mind. Like if you go too deep, you will lose your mind. Like, we're not meant to go that deep. We're meant to just accept and kind of walk in faith, you know, whatever faith you want, but it's a gesture almost. It's a gesture of trust that I will be taken care of. But as you told me the other day, it's like, answer the call, go to it. Whatever you put your focus in, that's going to shape your life.
That's the walk by faith thing.
That you don't know what's going to happen.
No,
but
you just take the next step. And then you take the next step.
And it's weird because you know what the next step is. Usually.
You definitely know.
You know, like, what is this compulsion? And that's probably what it boils down to. It's a compulsion.
Yeah.
What are you being compelled to do? And if you abandon that, you abandon yourself. Well, you're lying to yourself.
That's the story of Jonah. I mean, and whether Jonah happened or not, that's irrelevant. But what you're describing is the story of Jonah, the parable, if that's what it is. I don't even know what a parable is. The metaphor, the story.
It's a story. Yeah.
The parable of Jonah, meaning like he had a call, he had a duty, he had this compulsion. He denied it, and then he got swallowed up by the fish of chaos, you know, whether it was a whale or if it's a metaphor or whatever. And in my life, if I have done that, that's exactly the exact experience that I have had, is being stuck in limbo, you know, not knowing where I am, what I'm doing. And it's like, you know what to do. If you just do it, it's scary, yes, but you will exit this chaotic fish belly and be on your way, you know, on to bigger and better things. And so totally agree.
I have a little sticky note on my computer, and it says like something along the lines of attend to your responsibilities and anxiety vanishes. And that's happened every single time. If I just do what I know I'm supposed to do, there's no anxiety. There's no anxiousness. There's no concern for the future. It's like the best feeling for me is like at the end of the day, it's 7 p.m. or whatever, and I've done everything I was supposed to do.
Oh yeah.
I've done everything I was supposed to do, and that usually includes working out.
Yeah.
That usually includes some face-to-face time with somebody, whether it's working Prime Scene with Whitmire or, you know, some kind of human interaction. You know, maybe some cleaning in the house. They're small things.
Yeah.
But if you attend to them, if I'm looking around my room and it's like, this place is a mess. If I don't attend to that, it's like, what's the psychosomatic? You know, it's because of something external, something internal.
Is that what that means?
Will reflect that. Psychosomatic is more of, you think that you're sick, so you're going to be sick.
Oh.
Yeah, you kind of cause the illness.
Was it hypochondriac? Would that fall?
Hypochondriac is you think you are sick.
Which would be like...
It's like I have a cough and I Googled it and now I have cancer. Like that's hypochondriac. You think you're always sick.
Which is psychosomatic. Would be... So, oh my God. Well, I think it's very common.
I think it is very common.
I think it's the information, isn't it?
Do people want to be sick? Like, it's kind of serious question. I almost feel like people want to be sick.
It's a glorified victimhood. You know what I mean? Like,
that's good.
You get a lot of... See, when you're sick, let's say you're terminally sick, people are going to tell you things that they would never tell you before. That they need to fucking say when you're not sick. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you're the best son ever. You know, you're the best grandson. What the fuck ever. I don't know. Remember that, you know what, one time when we went on a camping trip, you told me this wise thing that shaped my entire life. Why didn't you tell me that when I was not dying or whatever? Mm-hmm. That, and then you just get so much, I don't know, there's this massive amount of attention and like care. Like it's almost, dude, this is almost going back to Fight Club. It's like people really care. They really listen to you if they think you're dying. You remember that when he tells Marla?
Like a straight line out of it.
That was a straight up Fight Club line. But I feel like that's kind of true to where people might kind of yearn for that, which is strange. But yeah, I could kind of see it.
I think that is definitely a good point. I think another point is people refuse to change their lifestyle. And it's hard to change your lifestyle. Like I understand that.
What's crazy is that they will do everything else besides the one thing that they need to do to change their lifestyle. Adam actually had a sermon on this, and he's talking about somebody that was smoking and would not stop smoking, and they will go all the way to having oxygen tank next to them and continue to smoke, but they have this oxygen tank to, I don't know, offset the whatever. Yet if they just stop smoking, they could reverse all this and get back, but they refuse to. And that's, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I've done that as well, not smoking, but.
Well, as I've aged, I've heard more and more people say it, probably because, I don't hang out with as many 20-year-olds as I do 30-plus-year-olds.
Right.
You know, it's almost like you stay with your age in a way. I mean, I work with a lot of older people too.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I continually hear is I wish I started sooner. Whether that, you know, and maybe that's, I wish I quit sooner,
right?
You know, quit smoking in that matter.
Wish I had taken action sooner.
It's like, I'm taking action now that I'm 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done it sooner. And that's such a motivation to me of like, do it now.
Yeah.
Now is the best time ever.
Yep.
I used to tell my friends that smoked, it's like, today is the easiest day to quit smoking.
Yep.
Tomorrow it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
And then the next day it gets harder. It's like, today is the easiest day. Mm-hmm. And that's probably true with how the brain ages, you know, anything past 30, it's easier now because you're just kind of deteriorating, and you can mitigate a ton of that with, you know, proper exercise, diet, water, everything else.
Psychedelics.
But yeah, it's like, just start it. And kind of going back to the editing talking, it's like, as soon as I have a timeline built, it's so much easier to fire up DaVinci and keep editing versus that blank timeline where I look at it and I exit out and I go do something else and, you know, save it for another day. And it just like the resistance builds against it until finally you climb that wall and you can build your foundation, I guess is really what it is.
Well, and you said the word resistance, and that's what it is, especially with creative stuff, but I think it's just any human endeavor worth pursuing, is that the hard work of building the foundation of the video, I mean, it is literally hammer and banging of the steel, you know, like that is the hard work of that trade. And almost all of that is action that builds momentum to battle resistance. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Like you said, what were you talking about the other day with the gym? You said in your mind that you got to go all the way to Baxter, you know, and that was this resistance. And the way that you overcame that was, fuck you, I'm going to go to the closer gym and I'm going to work out even harder. And that is really the secret to so much progress for my life. And when I've seen other people progress and do really good things, is they figure out ways to, one, build momentum. They rack up some quick wins. They get that dopamine loop, and they build up momentum to take on resistance. Because if you don't, talk about energies, yin yang, it's like whichever one you give the energy to, it gets stronger. So if you give it to resistance, you don't clean your room, you don't eat right, you don't do those things, maybe you don't just do a few things, that's going to build that resistance. I'm thinking of the ice bath right now. Didn't do it today.
Yeah.
But that builds. But if you're stacking them up and you're doing what you're supposed to do every day or often, however often you need to, that momentum is what is battling the resistance, because that resistance will do whatever it takes to beat you. Anything. Any fucking thing.
Speaking of resistance, if you're not the listener, if you're not aware of kind of the concept of resistance, it is the book, The Art of War, The War of Art. The War of Art. The Art of War, also a good read. But The War of Art. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield will completely revolutionize your concept of resistance.
Absolutely.
And if you read that book, you can now label resistance, which is half the battle. It's just seeing it,
recognizing it.
And after you do that, it's like the term resistance will have an entirely new meaning. If there's been probably a few books that have changed my perception of life, of existence, and that is one of them.
Absolutely.
And
I read it in a day. It's
ironically
not
enough,
hard.
I didn't finish it. So.
It's not a very hard read.
It's not a hard read.
It's very one-page chapters. It's almost like thoughts.
It's almost like repetitive. It's like, now we're going to talk about a different kind of resistance, or now it's like, it's all about resistance.
Yeah.
But it continually shows you different angles of resistance and really how to recognize it
and how to overcome it. And then a lot of like pitfalls, like resistance will take this form and you won't even recognize it.
Yeah.
The way that I love to, personify resistance is, for all you Harry Potter fans, is it's a boggart. Whatever you fear, that's what the form takes. Resistance, however it needs to defeat you, it will take that form. So if you need to be terrified, it will take the form of failure, and you'll go, fuck that, I'm not doing that. But I've even had it do being nice. I've had resistance come to me and be like, it's okay, you've been working so hard, why don't we just take a day off? And it's like, yeah, you're right. But really, it's demonic.
Yeah.
And it is, but it's coming to me in this form. It's like, whatever form you need to be defeated, I will take that form.
Mm-hmm.
And until you kind of recognize it and be like, I know, I've heard your voice before. I know who you are. Yours is, and then it goes.
Which gets back to responsibility of, I know what I'm supposed to do this. Hey, you don't have to do that. Like, just, you did it yesterday.
Right.
Why you did it yesterday? You already like scratched that itch. Why don't you, fire up steam, or why don't you do something
Go on.
easily pleasurable, quick, what is that? Not quick dopamine, but
the instant gratification.
instant gratification.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do this you haven't even eaten today. Why about you go to the fridge and grab something to eat? That'll make you feel better. And if it denies you your responsibility that you innately know that is my responsibility, then it's pretty easily resistance.
Right. You're not like, this is an angel trying to help me. Like, this is something different.
Yeah.
Discerning of the spirits, as the Bible says.
And it's like, trust your gut. If there's something telling you, do not go to the gym today.
Yeah.
Then probably listen to it. And that's a differentiation between resistance and like, no, you're gonna strain yourself. You're going to hurt yourself if you go to the gym, and that can be even on a deeper level of, God, for lack of a better term, telling you, yo, you're like, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't go to the parade. Don't go to the thing because of whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So it's tough. And I think at the end of the day, forgiveness is huge, whether you betrayed yourself or not. It's like, I didn't go to the gym, but I also felt like I wasn't supposed to go to the gym. Why do I still feel guilty? It's like, tomorrow's a new day. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. Like, there is an aspect of forgiveness there to keep you on your feet and not, you can't be your own worst enemy. That's a bad formula for life.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
So, walk with grace for yourself. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Forgive yourself. Try again tomorrow.
Yes, I agree. But another thing I've experienced with that particular thing is saying, like, don't go to the gym. For whatever reason, you're going to get hurt. There's a bad person there. Someone's sick, and I don't want you to get sick. Mm-hmm. The one kind of lesson that I've learned or tried to learn, it's been a really tough lesson for me, honestly, because I get pretty rigid. Like, once I lock in, I lock the fuck in, And a lot of times what is called of me is to adjust to the same outcome, or you could even be a better outcome, but you have to adjust in order to achieve the thing. You have to be flexible. And so, for instance, like don't go to the gym, but rather we're going to do a stretch routine in the bedroom. You're going to, go deep stretch and like loosen up. So you're still achieving the physical, necessary means of staying physical or staying in shape. You don't, because in the past it'd be like, don't go to the gym. I'm like, turn on the computer and play Arc for 16 hours, not at the gym. Got it. You know? And it's kind of like, oh no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I just said the thing that you were going to do, we're not going to do that. We're just going to adjust and complete the task in a different manner. Yeah. Because there's lessons to be learned here. There's benefits to be found here. Rather, it's like, if I can't work out at the gym, I just not going to work out. And then it's like, well, then you're not going to be strong. And that's me, man. I'm picking on me. I'm saying, if I can't make a movie like this, then no movie. Well, guess what? No movie got made. And here I am. So that's been a big lesson that I've been trying to incorporate. Is like, be agile. Like, you can't get this thing to happen, but all you got to do is adjust here. And it's like, this is interesting. This is like not a strategy that you thought of using for this particular project or this particular thing that you're trying to achieve. And by doing so, I met this person because I couldn't do it by myself. And then we kind of became friends and we moved here. And then it's just like, okay, there it goes. It goes all the way back to walk by faith. I think I know the path. This is the path I'm walking. Get out of my way. Everyone get the fuck out of my way. And God, the universe, energy, whatever is saying, trust me, walk by faith. Go this way. But that's not going to lead me to where it's like, we're not going there. We're going over here. You can't even imagine what's over here. And that tripped me out the other night, because you'll hear people say, oh, I have success beyond anything I could ever imagine. And I'm sitting there going, I have a pretty damn good imagination. Okay. I can imagine a lot of stuff. And I can imagine. And then I thought, let's just dwell on the concept of beyond imagination. And I was scared to death. Like, beyond imagination, what the hell is over there? It's horrifying. The only way that you're going to get beyond imagination is faith. That's the only way. Because if you remain within your imagination, or if you remain within what you think is possible, or like what you dream of, it's really a fear tactic. It's really a protection tactic of fear. You're protecting yourself. You're going, look, I can dream up all this stuff. And it's like, what about over there? It's like, the Darklands? Oh, I don't know about that. Like, I'm going to stay over here. I don't know what's over there. It's like, that's the whole point. There's treasures over there you can't even imagine. And there's also horrors and danger. But that's where the treasures are.
Limits of imagination. It's like, you can imagine 100,000, just the number.
Yeah.
You can imagine that. And it's like, yeah, beyond that is infinity. And you cannot comprehend that. Mm-mm. So the difference between 100,000 and infinity is, let's say, significant.
Silly.
It's silly significant.
Silly.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, what are you going to do with a compass that doesn't point north?
Oh, beautiful.
We aren't trying to find north, are we?
Beautiful metaphor.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And then sticking on...
that is... Yes, I love that.
Sticking on the video game analogies, it's like, if I'm trying to do piano and I've been slacking, it's like, I can't do an hour of piano today, but I could probably do 15 minutes.
Right.
Or I'm not feeling it. You know, like, I don't want to do much. Yeah. If you do anything, it's like that XP counts.
Yeah.
That experience points counts. You might not level up to the next level today, but you get that, your progress bar.
Yeah.
Your progress bar gets scooted.
Yeah.
And if you do that 10 times I did not want to do piano. All of a sudden it's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I got this song, or I got this chord, or anything like that. Like, you just do what you can. And that XP counts.
100%.
And then, of course,
again, that's walk by faith.
As we all know, it's consistency is more important than anything. I could work out for 24 hours straight. Is that gonna, give me the dream body that I want, or the strength of 1,000 men? No, it's not.
Strength of 1,000 men.
But if I work out
I see on your resume here that you have the strength of 1,000 men.
Yes, put it to the test.
I would be very impressed.
But if you work out 365 days, straight, moderately and with proper recovery,
Yeah.
You're going to be unrecognizable.
Unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Yep. I did that. I did that yesterday in this very seat. I had the laptop right here. I opened up my screenplay, which my goal is to finish this screenplay. I've been trying to write it for too long. And I said, by the end of the year, this draft will be done. Like, this will be a finished, maybe not a producible, maybe not like perfectly perfect, but it's going to be finished. And I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, I don't even know where I am in the story. I don't even know my characters' names. I just kept writing. I wrote the absolute worst dog shit. This is not staying in the story. These characters are like totally wooden talking to each other, but I put in 3 pages. And I was like, okay, that's what I can do today. I don't know I'm off for some reason. I don't know. But just pushing through that, I was like, well, I did it. Like I said, I didn't level up. I didn't go, man, I made progress, but I did make progress. Mm-hmm. Will I have to rewrite it? Absolutely. I will have to rewrite that. I don't care. Like, there were 3 pages added on to my screenplay that I'm trying to finish, that I will finish by the end of the year. And next time, maybe I'm locked in. Maybe I'm like, oh, I know exactly where I'm at. Blast through.
Well, that's kind of the timeline edit analogy. It's like, now there's something there to work with.
Yeah.
There's something on the timeline that I can hit play. And in your case, you can start reading. Mm-hmm. And I can say, why did I even put this clip in here? This half of this clip needs to go. The other half's pretty decent. And there's something to work with versus nothing. Yeah. Versus the next day comes around, you open up your laptop and it's a blank page.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's literally nothing to work with here.
Yeah. Adam said, I quote him a lot, but Adam said, a finished screenplay done 60% well is better than a not started screenplay that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's a very good piece of wisdom.
Somebody had a quote, something about a plan, like a 60%, good enough plan is better than a 100% foolproof plan that's non-existent, or I butchered it, but something along those lines.
Yeah, and I look back. I was talking to Kelsey the other day in bed, like just staring at the ceiling, thinking about stuff, which is like something I think people should do more often. I literally think people should sit around and think. That is like one of my superpowers, is not on the phone, not TV, no music. Sometimes I play music. I do like to have some music in the background, but I will just think. Sometimes I think directed over a direction, like we're going to think about this and stay within this realm. Sometimes I'm just floating through outer space, and whatever comes up from the subconscious, I'll think about it for a while, or I'll think about it for a little, whatever. But just thinking, and I was thinking about the difference in because I'm getting ready to turn 35 years old, which to me is middle age. 70 people die around 70 or 80 years old. I'm almost 35 next month. So I'm thinking like, where have I been and where I am, and the differences in the Colton from 18 and the things that I struggled with. One of them being perfection, like if it ain't perfect, I ain't doing it type thing. And how I know we have family members that struggle with that. And I see it, and I see like, oh man, you're a lot older than me, and you're still struggling with this perfection thing, which is literally the thing that is holding you back from achieving a lot of things you want to achieve, because it's not perfect. And it's like, oh shit, that doesn't exist. It will never exist. You don't want it to be perfect, because then that goes back to walking by faith and remaining within what you can imagine and what you can comprehend. It's like, that's great and grand and all, but the way to like really live life is to walk by faith and just like go in a direction where it's terrifying, because you don't know the outcome so much. You might kind of know, like, you're not going to just end up on a rhinoceros reservation in Africa because you didn't plan to. Maybe you will. I don't know. But generally, you kind of have some sort of direction, but no telling where you actually end up in that direction. But I was just thinking about the differences of the things I used to struggle with. For instance, here's one very minor thing, but it's changed my life for the better dramatically. Jiu-jitsu. Before, when I first started, for probably the first 3 years, maybe 4 years, when we were drilling a move, I did not want coach to see me drill the move. And if I looked over and I saw Dave, who was my first coach, watching me, I would almost like start talking to my partner and like, so what do I do here? You know, I wouldn't even do it. Now I'm like, come watch me. Watch me do it terribly. Andrew, my coach now, oh, put your hand here, do this, this, this. And then I do it again. And I say, watch me again, watch me again. I want you to tell me how terrible I'm doing this so that I do it correctly and I'm training correctly. And before it was such a fear inside me, like, I don't want to do it wrong. I want to be good at jujitsu. And now I'm like, oh, the way to get good at jujitsu is for this guy to tell me how bad I am and then to train it correctly. That tiny little shift in mindset has changed me so much, gotten me into MMA, which is terrifying, was terrifying. Now it's like, I'll spar with anybody. What's the worst that's going to happen? Pain, a little bit of embarrassment, and the truth of, shit, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Okay, great. Now I can become more because now I can see where my faults are. Tiny little things like that. But to wrap up the whole thing is just looking back at yourself and seeing where you came from. And I told Kelsey, I was like, something along the lines like, are you, like, how much have you changed since X amount of time? And she's like, well, no, not that much. I'm like, I'm not even the same animal. I'm not even close to the same person at all. And I love that. I love that because I can look back on myself and see how limited I was with some of my thinking and some of my actions. And now I can see how unlimited I am in some aspects. And then I can apply those lessons to where I am now and be like, oh man, there's so much more I can do. There's so much more I can be. There's so much more I can learn. There's so much, like, I can learn anything if I put the time in and endure the confusion and the frustration, and I can learn it. I can learn it. And I can, in the future, for instance, I don't know how to trade options. I have no idea how to trade options. I want to learn. If I sit down and lose some money and be frustrated and make the wrong decisions and do this, at some point in the future, I will know. And I'll be able to perform that action at a high level if I work hard enough, but I'll be able to perform the action better than I can now. And I love that. I love that progression. I love the understanding that nothing is off limits to me. I can learn and apply anything to who I am. I don't know. I love that.
Conversely, some people look in the mirror and they don't recognize the same animal for the worse. What happened? Who am I? You know, like,
also have experienced that.
There's not that there's set paths. I think life's too fluid for paths, but for our monkey brain analogy, we call them paths. Mm-hmm. Like, what path did you take? And then, it's like, it's so sad that some people look in the mirror and there is not progress and they've gone backwards. And so it can go both ways. Not recognizing yourself.
I think it does.
But it does go one way or the other, I think. I don't think you really kind of, that's me.
I would say it goes both ways at the same time. But generally, like, if you put it all together, there is a overarching way, positive, negative.
Weighted.
It's weighted. But if you look at yourself detailed wise, there are things that you have maybe regressed on, and there's things that maybe you have progressed on. It's not, you're just killing it on every level. It's like, there are things I still struggle with that I struggled with at 18 that I'm still like fucking with right now. But overall, it's like, I think I'm headed in the right direction. This is good. Like, overall, it's a positive thing.
And it's such a simple lesson of life that I don't know. Obviously, you cannot rely on the public school system to do anything of value in your life. Learn the times table or something. But it's like, going back to your jiu-jitsu, like, you are drilling this move and you're horrible at it. I don't like to play the piano because it sounds bad, because it's like, da, da, somebody that wants to be an artist doesn't want to draw because it looks like shit. And it's, of course it's going to, like, I don't know why. I wish I would have understood that sooner. Like, of course it's going to sound bad. Of course it's going to be a terrible movie. Of course it's, you're not going to know because you don't know what you don't know. And depending on how bad you want it, that's old Goggins. you want to be the baddest motherfucker that ever lived? Like, no, I don't. But if you did,
Yeah.
you know, like, this is what you have to do. It's laid out for you. Here's what you have to do. If I want to be a mediocre piano player, I can do that. I believe I can do that. So, and it's laid out for me. Time and intentional practice and time.
Yeah.
It's like, of course it's going to be bad, whatever you are starting with. And even if it's not, we have a friend who is opening a bakery or is in talks of opening a bakery. Hopefully one of my next guests.
Who is it?
Michaela.
Oh, very nice.
It's like she can already bake like a freak.
Yeah.
Like a champion baker. But give her 3 or 5 years of intentionally learning, whipping the sugar a little differently, or, you know,
learning
adding
strategic technique.
Yeah. Learning like intentional, you know, learning from the past almost, of like, you don't have to start from scratch.
Right.
She's not. She's her baked goods are insane. But if she takes even more lessons from bakers of the past who say you're doing it like this, and that's fine, that's great, and everybody loves it and it tastes good. But if you add, you know, a teaspoon of vanilla, or, you know, I know nothing about baking, which is part of my interest in her, you know, coming on the podcast and everything. But like, so even if you are proficient, it's like there's always room for improvement, and depending on how good you want to be. Does she want to be the best baker in the world? Yeah, she's got some room for growth. You know, she wasn't born that way. Anybody, you know, Andrews, do you want to be a 9th degree black belt or a 1st degree black belt? Like, there's so much room continually for growth.
Right.
I feel like, I don't know, speaking of jujitsu, like a 9th degree black belt, I feel like you have almost aged out of your prime. So how can you even get better? It takes so long to get there. It's like, even if you start as a kid, you're there by 40. I don't know how soon you can get to a 9th degree. 40, you'd be all right. You could probably still, you know, your physicality isn't giving up on you yet.
Yeah. I think Wikipedia, I think it's on Wikipedia, and it says if you start, the earliest you can get a coral belt, and let's just pretend you're starting at this age. I think it was like 4 years old. To get a coral belt was like 60 years old.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way.
It's crazy.
Yes. A 9th degree black belt or whatever, or a high level black belt. The thing that I'm a blue belt, you know, I don't really know, but I would guess, and this is specific to jiu-jitsu, is that it's so much less about strength and physicality, and it's your mentality. Like Dave said one time, like, once you kind of get to this level, you know that they're going to react one of 4 ways, and you're just kind of waiting for them to, oh, he's going to his back. Now you know, okay, to the back, now I have these options. I think that is a superpower, and balance it. It's like the young bull, or the young bull's got the strength, the old bull's got the wisdom. It's like kind of like that. And they balance each other out. Yeah, this kid is stronger and shit, and he's fast, and he doesn't get tired. This guy is older. His muscles don't react as fast, but he knows, like, he just knows kind of what is possible within this realm.
Well, it's crazy how they do balance each other, because while the young buck has strength and stamina and all of that, and the old bull does not, it's because the old bull, you know, has the wisdom and not the ferociousness of the white belt, of the young white belt, that he's able to, like, he doesn't need the strength. He doesn't need the stamina. He gets tired faster. Yeah, that's okay, because he's conserving so much with what he knows.
Right.
He knows, I don't have to attack that, you know.
Right.
He's just gonna, all of a sudden, yeah, that guy has like crazy stamina. Why is he breathing so hard? You know, all of a sudden it's like those finite things start to wear down, and wisdom is kind of elongated. It's everlasting almost.
You know, like in football, they'll say every play is supposed to be perfect on both sides of the ball. If it's an offensive play, every offensive play is designed to score a touchdown.
Right.
Defensive play, every play that's called on the defensive side is to prevent a touchdown. And so each time the ball is snapped, each side of the ball is performing their chosen strategy, and somewhere something breaks down. Either they get yards or they lose yards. Either they score a touchdown or they throw an interception.
They miss a block or they get their block.
Exactly. And so that's what I think I think you can apply that to anything across life. We can move over to jiu-jitsu, and it's like every move, every position, you can submit someone from just about any position. You can also weather a storm from just about any position. And so at that level, you're just looking for the mistake, the tiny little mistake where he puts his arm from here to here, and it's like, oh, there's an opening right there. And a high level jiu-jitsu person will see that, will know it, and they will take advantage of that shit. I can be crushed. I'm 240. I'm strong. I'm fast. I crush people, dude. And they will still catch me because I put something out of place. My balance is a little bit off, or I try to perform a technique that I'm not really proficient at, and there's an opening. My hand is here and it's not supposed to be there, and they'll catch it.
It's crazy how many and it's the whole concept of jiu-jitsu. It's crazy how many different options there are to submit an opponent, and I think that's a proper terminology. Submitting somebody to where it's your toe. It's a toe grab. It's something so small to where, yes, I can lift an Atlas stone, no problem.
Right.
But you twisted my arm behind my back, and it's like, it's over. I will do whatever you say. You have me in your clutch, even though I can pick you up and tear you in half. I can't right now.
Yeah.
It's like you are in complete control. Unless I want my arm broken or my toe ripped off or completely choked out unconscious.
And you will go.
And it's a beautiful sport. It really is. Because of that reason. Because even though somebody can do all these things physically, if they don't know the concepts of jiu-jitsu, it's over. It's already over.
It's over. And you can take that, because I started doing MMA, and it's the same thing, but even more intense, because now you're dealing with damage. Like in jiu-jitsu, it's the gentle art, is what they call it. And it can be rough, and it can be like crushing people and whatnot. But MMA is so much like the strategy in MMA starts with, for me, when we hit gloves, the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at how you stand. Are you standing regular, or are you standing southpaw? I'm a southpaw guy, so I'm standing one way, and I see how you stand. Then after that, I kind of see what you're choosing to do. Are you real aggressive? Are you throwing a lot of offense towards me? Or are you hanging back waiting for me to do something? And then I'm dissecting, are you using a lot of your legs? Are you kicking me a lot? Are you keeping me at distance? Are you I have one guy, he just pressures me. I mean, it's like, I finally had to throw a knee, and I caught him with the knee hard. Not like hard, like I threw the knee hard, like the technique was perfect, and it just came together, and it was like, I said, I did that. I felt so bad. I was like, I didn't mean to do that like that. But I said, I did that because you kept crowding. I couldn't get you off of me. And so I just put a knee up and, hit him or whatever. But the amount of, I think it's more chess than jiu-jitsu, because there's so many different things going on. You're trying to, maybe you throw a fake, or they'll throw like a low leg kick, high leg kick, because you're blocking the low and your head's wide open. And so, I don't know. I love that aspect of trying to like process all that. And you think, I shouldn't be tired. We didn't do anything. It's like my brain was going 5 billion miles an hour trying to process your movement, your last 3 moves, trying to predict the next 3 moves. It's just like, oh my gosh, so much fun.
I love the analogies to chess, and I love, I kind of wish there was more games like chess, and I'm kind of glad that there's not, because it's almost like the perfect game. And I love the history behind it, and like, it's not some new age thing. It's been around for centuries somehow.
Who made chess?
I don't know. That's a good question. But I know it evolved, at some point. I think at some point there wasn't a queen, or the queen had different responsibilities on the chessboard. And then they made it about the king, something like that, to where, okay, how about the king has to have a strong counterpart, which would be the queen. That's your strongest piece on the board.
Right.
And I don't think it was always like that. But the way it evolved, and then like they eventually nailed it, and it's just stuck around as is. You don't change chess.
Right. Well, the only thing I can think of is that they added, 4-way play, like
Oh, well,
the initial rules.
it's like a variation.
A variation.
Yeah, they added variation, so there's like 4-player
But the
chess
foundation is still
Right.
Queen doesn't jump over characters.
Right.
It's still like there.
But in the same way, my litmus test for playing a new opponent is like feeding them a easy kill. You know, usually it's a equal take, but you don't have to take. If our pawns are staring each other down and I move my pawn in a position to where now you can take, it's a turn-based game. I love turn-based games.
Yeah.
It tells me a lot if you take that pawn, even though I'm going to get your pawn back and it's an even trade and everything. Because if you don't take that pawn, that's actually when I start to sweat a little bit. Like, he's going to play the long game.
Right.
Or I can feed you easy kills to set up my guys where I want them.
Right.
But if you don't take, then it's like, I don't know what you're going to do.
Right.
But if you're overly aggressive, it's just like the overly aggressive thing. It's like, if you're overly aggressive, I know how to play you.
Right.
That's no big deal. But if you're, sitting back and you're waiting, it's like you're the coiled up snake. It's like, that's when it gets really tricky. And I'm no chess pro, but I've dived in recent years. So I love it.
You're getting to the foundation of play. And I told Kelsey this the other night. It's like, I love sparring with people so much. Why? Because they are telling me so much about their character. Like, this person is very aggressive. Like, this is how he plays his fighting game. He chooses to do this. And I love it because it makes me different. It makes me react differently. Or this person, like, God forbid, he takes me to the ground, or we're going to have a long time. Hopefully the clock goes off soon, because if we get stuck on the ground, I'm stuck. And I just love how the choices, like you're saying, take the pawn, not take the pawn. I love how choices reveal about the character. And it's like, it's a form, for me, it's a form of love towards that person. Like, oh, you're showing me kind of who you are.
Intimacy.
It's intimacy. You're showing me kind of who you are in this moment because of your choices. Like, you're choosing to do that. I don't know. I just love that about people. It doesn't have to be fighting. It could be chess. It could be any sort of game. I just love the choices that people make and how it reveals their character. And it's like, I know you want a more into, when I roll with you, I have never seen a man smile bigger than after I have tried to take his fucking head off, grinding my elbow into his neck or something. The timer goes off and they get up and they're like, that was awesome. And me too. I'm smiling ear to ear like, dude, you were killing me. And it's like this weird connection that we had. We were trying to kill each other. Literally. I would tap or whatever. But in this super aggressive manner. And yet somehow we're closer. Like, somehow we're like connected deeper because of what we just did. I love that so much about play and games and stuff. And it can be any type of game. It could arc. It could be computer game or board game or physical. Here's the rules. It's golf. We put the ball in the hole. It's our goal. What club are you going to use? What sort of strategy do you like to do? I don't know. I just love how it reveals character of that person. I feel like I know the person deeper, on a deeper level. And then if it's a PvP, then I kind of know myself on a deeper level because of the choices that I made. I don't know. It's a great self-development tool if you pay attention.
I kind of think any adult, it's like after high school, 92% of people will never play another sport in their life. After 18,
which is a shame, man.
Well, that's where I was getting at. That's what I love about jiu-jitsu is like, yeah, you can go boxing, and then people are talking about CTE and a bunch of stuff like that, brain trauma, which obviously is bad. So what I love about jiu-jitsu is you can go 100%.
Right.
No matter how strong you are, how weak you are, how fat you are, anything, any variation, you can go as hard as you can. And pretty much, I know you had a pec tear, and that's a whole bag of worms, but it's like with, a good proper gym and everything, you can go as hard as you want and you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And like, there's nothing, you'll be sore as shit. You'll be more sore than you even knew was possible. Mm-hmm. Literally from your toes to the bottom of your chin, everything in between is sore. Unreal. Didn't know that was possible. But it's sad because I don't know if people lose their competitiveness because I don't know. I consider myself, I won enough in my youth that I don't feel the need to win. Like, I don't really let people win, but if I lose, I don't take it personal. It's fine. You know, there are things I try to nail that down. What do I care about winning about? Because that's important. But, you can go balls to the walls, and you can do that in the gym, you know, and this is, I guess, speaking more physicality than,
Right.
and there is mental, of course, a part of it as well, but physically people don't like challenge their body, and there's so much reward that comes with that. And jiu-jitsu is like an open door to max yourself out over and over and over and over again, and you're not going to be hurt. It's crazy. And most, you know, if I join the Joplin Crusaders and I'm playing football again, how many injuries is that going to come up with? And I know it's like you're just ramming into other people. So there's so many variables that go on there, and jiu-jitsu is so controlled. It's a controlled environment. You're on a soft pad, you know, so you get slammed to the ground. You know, you might get your wind knocked out of you or something, but like never happened to me I didn't train as long as you, but you can just go as hard as you can and almost scratch that itch, that competitive itch of like, yeah, you lost, but you gained XP. You know, your body will be stronger in 2 days after you heal up. You know, your body will be stronger for it. Your mind will be stronger for it, you know. And if you don't take losing gracefully, hopefully you learn that lesson. You know, you will learn to lose gracefully, and you will learn to respect your opponent. And being at a bar or a restaurant or out of town, you might start looking at people a little differently. Could he strangle me? You know, oh man, when I see red, there ain't nothing standing in my way. Like, go talk to Dave.
I'm wearing a red shirt, bro.
Go talk to Dave and see if red matters, you know, and you just don't know. And then Andrew's pretty buff and strong. So it's like, all right, you know, I might look at him again, but I would never think he will fuck you up in so many ways that you could never imagine.
I'm thinking of Ross.
Ross
is super skinny, tall, lanky, long-haired. Looks like he should be playing a guitar. I think he does play guitar. Looks like he should be in like a metal band. Yeah. Addicted to drugs and, you know, he's a rock star. Yeah. Ross is a rock star. Yet I know if Ross were to be in a situation that needed some sort of physical, like, he is formidable. and most people would write him off. I would have written him off long ago. But I look at him now, I'm like, that guy's formidable. If he wanted to, he could cause a lot of damage.
I mean, I think it's probably smart to look at most people like that.
I think so.
I mean, guy and girl. Like, I can overpower a lot of women. Most of them. Easily.
I have not found one yet. I haven't rolled with all the women in the world. But
sure. But yeah, you find the wrong one, and it's like, you know, did the wrong one step on your toes on accident in the coffee line, and you're going to freak out about it? That's not good. No, you should probably just err on the side of caution and accept her apology and move on with your life. I never really understood that either. Like, the guys that are out looking for a fight, I've never got that mentality. Like, what, you don't want to just have a good time and just chill and talk and play a game or something?
Well, I think you said it earlier. It scratches that itch. Like, if you're in the gym, you get that taken care of. But if you aren't in there in the controlled environment, like, I think those guys they're in need of validation. Is what they don't have the validation of being a man.
So that's self-esteem. Right?
Self-esteem. Okay. They don't have. They do not know who they are. They do not know what they are capable of, and they need to prove it to their father, to themselves, to their whatever, to their community, whatever. They feel less than. That's why I say go to the gym. Go to a martial arts gym. Doesn't even have to be jiu-jitsu. Go to a martial arts gym where the outcome could be pain and defeat and submission, because you will figure out where you fall on the scale. JW says that your opponent is the path to enlightenment. Your opponent shows you what you fucked up on. They caught me in a guillotine. Like, well, put your head back. Like, don't put your head forward. Just small things like that. And if you do that, not only do you kind of understand where you are on the spectrum, like if you're super badass and could take care of yourself, then what do you have to prove? Or you just got your ass kicked by a girl who put you in a stranglehold. Like, either you're going to be pissed and never go back to that gym and you can live in delusion. Don't recommend that. Or you can come back and say, how did you do that? Oh, you put your head forward and just kind of opened it up for me. Now you can address that. Now you're better for it. Now when you go out to the bar, you're not looking for a fight because you've already done it. There's nothing to prove. You know where you are, you know what you're capable of. And then further than that, you can see how dangerous fights can be, and physical altercation. It doesn't have to be like a fight. It could just be physical altercation. They can be deadly. They can be extremely dangerous for both the person that you're engaging with and for yourself. I mean, God forbid you picked on some nerd who's never trained anything, and like you could really hurt them, and you could change their life. You don't want that.
Well, I mean, you get pushed, your head slams into the curb, you're in the hospital, you don't know how you got there. I mean, that's a good case scenario. There's far worse things that could happen when your head slams against concrete,
right?
Which is where a street fight would be happening, or at a bar or anything like that. There's a lot of hard surfaces around there. And if you have velocity behind wherever you're going and you hit it wrong,
and you said earlier, jiu-jitsu is a controlled environment most of the time. Bars are not.
Yeah.
People have friends. Yeah. And so you could be super badass. What are you going to do versus 8 guys?
Verse 4.
Verse 4.
Verse 2.
Verse 2, like us, big dude, 2 of us versus 1 pretty good fighter or trainer, whatever you want to, athletic person. It's like, maybe he gets lucky and knocks his opponent out.
Like I say, he has a chance. Sure.
But the odds are definitely, I'm not betting on him on BetMGM. I'm putting my money on us.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you continue with I think people should think. I think they should just have unfiltered thought throughout their day, make a space for it. I also think people should learn how to take an idea all the way to the end of the idea. So for instance, let's think about, you go to a bar and you're looking for a fight. Let's just pretend you beat the shit out of the guy. Does that make you feel like he's on the ground, he's hurting, he's embarrassed, he's possibly physically injured for the rest of his life? You gave him CTE, you've fucked his arm up, so now he has to have surgery, and he's going to tell his grandkids, like, my arm doesn't quite work right. Like, is that what you wanted? Yeah. So what did you want from the outcome of this desire? I guarantee it is not that. So go to the gym, get it out there, learn, have the delusion burned away. And if you want to fight, if you're looking for, sign up for a fight.
Yeah.
There's plenty of, Ryan, if you were to go to Ryan right now, Ryan Mossberg, and say, I want to fight this guy, and this guy wants to fight me, he would sanction it in his gym. He'd say, okay, you guys are putting these gloves on. We're going to have a ref. I'm going to ref it. And once it goes far enough, I'm going to call it. You guys can slug it out. You can hit each other as hard as you want. Controlled environment. Mm-hmm. You both are accepting the risk. In the bar, a lot of times it's like, this person probably is not accepting, or they're not accepting. They're not like the consequences of what could happen. If you're both mutually saying like, I'll fight you. Okay, well then, okay, we'll go for it. If you guys kill each other, then whatever, you said it. But just take ideas to the end. A lot of people don't. They're just like, I want to get in a fight. What's the outcome of that?
Yeah.
Let's pretend it's a good outcome. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah. And then it's like, if you don't do it right then, do you still want to fight tomorrow? So many times it's like in the moment. In the moment, I want to rip your head off. Tomorrow when I wake up, right, I haven't had coffee and I haven't really got around. I don't really want to fight. It's like, so how bad do you want to fight this person, you know, because he spilled his drink on you or something? It's like probably not as bad as you want to right now, but in the scheme of things, you probably really don't give a shit. And I'd say like, even in like a weightlifting gym, to where it's you versus you kind of scenario, it's like that definitely scratches my itch. I'm very docile and peaceful after I leave the gym, but it's hard to use as an example because so many muscle heads, fucking strut out of there and like really want to shoulder check somebody on their way out. It's like I don't know, so I can't really use that as an example, but that does work for me. I'm just in a better mood. I'm just happier. I'm more tired when I go to bed, which I want to be, you know, I don't want to be mindlessly watching YouTube. So, I mean, the regular gym, if you're not ready for a MMA gym, don't wait to get in shape. That's a terrible
common excuse.
Common excuse. It's painful to hear, especially from, you know, the actual jiu-jitsu or boxing guys, MMA guys. Like they will roll their eyes at you. But if the common gym is where you're being called to, then I mean, I think it's awesome. I love going. I feel so much better after going. I can move better. I want to move better. I sleep better. I mean, it's like there's a reason it's a cliche for most ailments. It's like, do you exercise? You know, the general broad term of exercise. Do you exercise?
Yeah.
Well, most of the time I feel like it's no. And that might go back to, I don't want to change my lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, I've never really worked out, but I'm seriously depressed. And it's like, I don't want to just slap on the go work out solution, but my God, isn't it worth a try? You know, how bad is it? Isn't it worth a try? Go see what happens. Go see how you feel afterwards. And I know when I take a bunch of time off, I go to the gym, I'll like feel sick, probably because I've been eating like crap or eating too much at least. And it's like, I'll feel literally sick. That goes away. That goes away within the first week. If you ask me, it's a few days in and all of a sudden it's like, I you know, my first day back, I'll leave the gym feeling worse than when I went in. It's like, oh, what am I doing? And that's no motivation to go back. But if you go back again, and then maybe that third time you're going to leave and you're going to think, oh my God, I feel good.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that snowball effect of the momentum, if you can get behind that momentum and keep going, it's like you start to like see the benefits. But if you've never worked out before and you go get a hard workout in, you're probably going to feel worse.
Why do people do this to themselves?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's reasonable to expect that. Like, you will feel worse afterwards. That goes away. We're supposed to be moving and active. And the way that people neglect their own body is so wild. It's so wild. This is what you got. And then I guess that goes back to like, do you want to be sick? Questions I can't answer, but I don't know if I can use my portion of influence to influence towards physicality, however that means to you. It's like, it's worth it, man. It's worth every second that you're in there. And then you can overdo it. There's a bell curve, you know, you can overdo it and you can underdo it to where you still, you know, you didn't give everything you had, and you kind of don't want to give everything you had, but you want to do yourself proud, you know, like feel accomplished leaving. That's a good feeling to have. But so many people just don't prioritize it.
It's not even on their radar. It's like not even an option.
Yeah.
Like they're like, I'll go to the doctor and get a pill. I'll go to the bar and drink. Oh, well, I don't know. Whatever they decide to do. But it's like, why isn't the option of exercise, whatever that means to you, one of the things you're thinking about doing? I don't know. You said it earlier. After high school, a lot of people play sports in high school and then they never play another sport again. I mean, to me, that is an absolute, I think everybody needs some sort of pursuit to focus on. There's a girl I went to college with, her name's Dee Dee, and Dee Dee is a power lifter. Like, she competes powerlifting. And so that's not martial arts or whatever. And that's the camp I'm in. But she trains technique. She is around masters that are master power lifters. Like, their goal is to lift really heavy things, and like the Atlas ball, like you said, and stuff like that. And I think, like you said, going to the gym is great. Highly recommend it. I go to the gym, I lift weights and stuff, I squat, all that kind of stuff. But it's kind of I do it because I want to be better at martial arts. So it's almost like an enhancer. It's not really my main focus, and to be healthy and stuff. But I feel like people need something to focus on. It could be anything. Tyler Schallenberger does Frisbee golf. I think that's great. There's technique.
That's really taken the world by our world by storm, our community
very
by storm.
Popular.
Crazy how it exploded.
It is.
It exploded.
It used to be a joke. It used to be on ESPN The Ocho, you know, and it was more of a joke than anything. And now it's like, there are professionals in our area, like they're professional. Tyler is semi-pro.
They'll do tournaments
and they're very serious about it. But I feel like that seriousness of focusing on we'll call it a sport. Like focusing on a sport is so important for adults. Kids do it all the time. They play soccer, they play football, they play tennis, whatever. And they're encouraged. Like, you should do this. We don't do that to adults. I think all adults need some sort of sport to focus on. And I'm going to advocate for the ones I love. Mm-hmm. If you love tennis, dude, go get your tennis rackets. Start learning different techniques, upper hand, lower hand. I don't know anything about tennis. But start learning different techniques. Start competing. You don't have to you're not going to the U.S. World's Open, but you can compete in a local thing.
Something like tennis it will reveal how out of shape you are. It's not even the most competitive or the most. It might be very competitive actually, but it's not the most like physically demanding.
It doesn't seem that way.
It doesn't seem that way. And I'd say most. It's not the most. There is some that are more physically demanding, but it will show you. Mm-hmm. It will reveal how out of shape you actually are.
No doubt.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, the feeling of accomplishment, and then just the brain chemicals that are going on, and your cardiovascular community.
Think about the chess group that you were a part of for a little bit. It's like you guys all decided to come up here on a Saturday morning.
Right.
You all love chess. You all have different strategies. You all have different people you look up to. You all have different goals. You all have different... I love that. I think that's what so many adults are missing, is they don't have that pursuit. And it doesn't have to be your main focus. That's another thing. Like, well, I was going to say carpenter. There's not a lot of carpenters anymore, but I'm an accountant. I sit in a bank all day. It's like, that's great. You don't have to be the next John McEnroe of tennis. But the fact that you are into it, and that you're watching tennis videos on YouTube, and you're listening to tennis podcasts and stuff, like, your knowledge of the game is getting deeper and deeper. You're getting better. Like, you work your wrist or whatever. And that is just like so crucial. I don't know if it probably is, but that will transcend across your whole life.
Well, and if you truly enjoy it and you truly want to get better, it's like you weightlifting for jiu-jitsu. It's like you'll implement other things in your life. Now you're doing yoga because you've pulled your hamstring too many times on the tennis court. Yeah. So now you do yoga, which is unbelievably effective for well-being, mentally and physically, spiritually for that matter. I mean, it'll put you at peace, if anything will. But yeah, then all of a sudden you implement other things, you adopt other habits that not only excel your tennis game, your frisbee golf game, your anything like that. Frisbee golf, it's a lot of walking, and then everybody's like, it's great exercise because you're walking from here to here. It's like I sprint 100 yards. Okay, like I don't walk. I mean, I get it if you don't do any exercise, and now you walk one lap around Baxter Park. Okay,
or you're elderly, like maybe you can't.
That's fine. I'm not targeting the elderly with that comment, but it's the youth that's like, you are better than walking a lap of not even a mile, and you're thinking, oh, I got my exercise today. No, you didn't. But that's my opinion, and you can tell me to go fuck off. That's fine. But it's like I would rather go to the gym. I'd rather work up a crazy sweat, be swole, like tight because I've just been
lifting. Who doesn't want to be swole?
Well, I mean,
I think
frisbee golfers don't want to be swole.
I mean, like, if you went up to someone and you're like, do you want to be swole? I just don't see them being like, no, not really. Like, I think every guy wants to be, they don't need to be Arnold. They don't need to be like jerk arms off SpongeBob. But I mean, like, you want to be in shape. Like, you want to look good. You want to feel good. Like, I think everybody's going to say, yeah, I do. Yeah.
But I mean, there's like levels of wants, because they probably want it at the lowest level. What are you willing to do for it? Literally nothing. I just want.
Well, I didn't ask them what they're willing to do for it, but I'm just saying, like, would you want that? Like, I think everybody would say yes. The difference is where you came in and said, are you willing to do this? Most people are not.
It's prioritization. Do you prioritize what it takes to do this, or do you not? How badly do you want it?
Right.
Most don't, and that's fine. That's nothing wrong with that, obviously. Besides, you want to be weak.
Everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own needs. And that's why I don't get too heated on, like, you have to do this. That's why I told Casye the other day, I was like, most people probably don't have to lock themselves in a room. Like I come up to the studio and I do deep work, and it is pure torture. It is pure fucking torture for me. The thoughts, the doubts, the onslaught of negative demonic forces just coming down and beating the shit out of me. Me going through my life very slowly, looking through, thinking again, deeply thinking about myself and reflecting and being like, where am I going wrong? Blah, blah, blah. Most people don't have to do that. Like they can just live life. That's fine. But for me, I got to go through it. That's what I have to do. And I don't want you, I'm not saying you have to lock yourself in a room and take a bunch of drugs and, go beat the shit out of yourself at a gym. Like, but that's what I have to do. Mm-hmm. And I've just accepted it. Like that's what I have to do. So that's what I'm going to do.
It's kind of the beauty of people though, is like, it's not a one size fits all. Like things will work for people that don't work for you and vice versa. And that's totally fine. And you said it earlier. I mean, like, this is what I do. So this is what I tell people because that works for me. And that's what I do. Right. It's a find your own niche, find your own lane, do what works for you. I think there's kind of no excuse for non-physicality of some caliber. And maybe that is walking. Maybe that's walking your neighborhood twice or something. I don't know. If that works for you, great. But I think of like the typical, D&D nerd or, just the hardcore geek nerd, stinks, basement, like everything you imagine. It's like if you would just exercise, I feel like your quality of life would skyrocket.
Absolutely.
But that's me being a man and having kind of lived that life in a way of like just prioritize video games week in and week out and like do nothing else. And it's like, I know how shitty that made me feel. Like deep down as a human and just day to day and like waking up and like, well, we're going to do it again. Here we go. You just like lose your passion for things. So, I go back to just the nerdiest of nerds and it's like, just, you don't have to do the boxing gym. You don't have to do any of that. Just, get a little garage gym going and just go tittle around in there. And like, you'll just feel so much better. But I think that goes for basically everybody.
Yeah. I think if you're a human, you should be doing something physical. To whatever degree you can.
Sure. And to your enjoyment.
Yeah.
Yes, lifting weights is difficult, but we find enjoyment out of it.
Right.
Somebody might lift weights for a month and say, I hated every single time I went. It's like, okay, well then find something else. Maybe don't lift weights or implement a game into your lifting routine or something like that. Like, find for sure you need to find what works for you. And that's probably part of your calling. What are you being called to do?
Yeah.
Because it's probably not sit in your house in the AC on a hot day and do nothing or, I don't know, knit or something. Like, knit if you're called to knit, but at the same time, find an avenue for some physicality within your day.
Yeah. Well, and physicality of whatever degree and whatever pursuit that you decide is more of like a meta thing. It enhances all things. It's yes, I do lift weights, particularly because when I'm thinking about squatting, I'm thinking I'm squatting to pick this dude up to throw him down, or I'm squatting to have a better foundation. So when he kicks me, I don't just fall back on my back. I'm able to absorb it. So I'm thinking that. But on the other hand, I'm just doing this to feel good, to have better circulation, to be a better human, to feel better as a human, to walk around and be like, I'm strong. I'm not going to just fall over. If I need to pick something up, I can pick it up. Not an Atlas stone, but maybe an Amazon box, or there's been times at Walmart where little ladies will say, can you grab that for me on that shelf? Yeah, I can. No problem. It's heavy as shit. It's a big thing of Coca-Cola or something, but that's what it was. But I got it for her, and
you got to earn this Coca-Cola, lady.
I'm capable of doing that. And so just physicality in general, it's a meta thing. It just makes everything better. I think if you're a coder, if you sit on the computer, if you're a professional gamer, whatever, exercise of some form, vigorous or slightly vigorous or whatever, is going to make you think better, feel better, sleep better, play better, whatever it is. Like, it's just something that humans are just not meant to be solid, what is it?
Stagnant.
Creatures, like meant to move. You're meant to do whatever. Pick whatever that is. Tennis, jiu-jitsu, frisbee golf, whatever it is. I'm trying to think of some like broader things, but
it is kind of like if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So like the more time that goes by that you are not using, that you're not stretching your legs, the tighter your legs are getting.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't know, why wouldn't you want to hang on to that?
Well, and people, they think about the size of muscles. They're like, if I exercise, my muscles will get bigger. It's like, well, that's true if you lift a certain way. But what they don't think about, and I didn't think about, I just was blessed to have a weight coach and an option to lift at a young age, is that you are strengthening the ligaments and tendons years and years of strengthening those. And so if you just start lifting weights now and you never have, like, those are just not as strong as mine, because mine have endured a lot more push and pull and tug and all that. And that not only is my muscle stronger and the muscle memory, as they'll say, it's like the junctions in my body are stronger for years of doing this. And it's like, there's no other way to get that. It's just years of doing that and your body adapting to it or whatever.
That's why I'm thankful that, which I guess really I should be thankful. Anyway, I'm thankful that in the past I was fat boy and I'm evolving into a more in shape, well-rounded, well, I guess less rounded, individual where I'm losing weight, I'm getting stronger, I'm kind of going in the right direction, when most people do the opposite. I was so skinny in high school. It's like I was 260. I was huge in high school.
You were 260?
Yeah, I think in college I topped out at 280.
Wow.
Yeah, and
never tipped 300.
Never tipped 300. 280 was
close enough.
A wake up call. Yeah, and then of course in the more recent years has been a much more prioritization on the matter. Yeah. But to where my body carried around that weight and my body got stronger because you just carry around that weight all day. You got to pull yourself out of bed and you're carrying around more weight than you need to be. So your leg tendons and cartilage and everything, like, I don't know. I don't think cartilage replenishes, right? Once it's gone, it's gone.
Probably, yeah.
So that's probably not good for cartilage, but for other things, muscles in general, it's like I've had to carry around this weight this whole time. So now if I keep dropping weight and get to like a healthy 200, 190, 210, whatever, it's like my body is set up to hold a lot more weight.
It's like organic weight vest.
Yeah, because I've done it for 30 years. Yeah. And now if I drop weight, it's like overpowered or something. It's like we have set up a system that can carry 250 pounds consistently. Right. But now we don't have to.
Now we're 50 pounds lighter.
Well, versus the skinny guy in high school or gal in high school that is now 80 pounds heavier than they were. And their body is not set up for this, holding all this weight, because they probably have not been exercising, going up in weight significantly, because I would say most people that you see that were in your graduating class are heavier than they were. And the rare exception, I think, is the fat guy who is now not fat. It's like, I would much rather be the fat guy in high school that is now not fat, living the rest of his life. It's almost like I got to live my sins, and now I must repent. And I am in repentance mode now, to where the other person just never thought that. They just had the skinny gene, until time and age starts catching up to them. And it's like, you can't eat like you used to, and you can't do nothing like you have always done if you want to be in somewhat reasonable shape. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm thankful that it has been turning out like that for me. Of course, you don't want to be the fat guy then and now. that's probably as bad as it gets. But I definitely, I don't want to be I don't like the thought of being the skinny guy and then now fat. Like, what, people look at you and they're like, what happened?
Oh yeah.
It's like, it's not a good feeling.
When I came back from California the first time, when Josh and I were out there, there was a time I come back in Walmart, I ran into Garrett Hendry and Josh Hendry. And I don't know. I saw him. I was like, "What's up?" Talked to him, whatever, and thought nothing of it. I do remember the interaction. I don't know why, but I remember the interaction. And then like years later, don't remember where we were, but I was talking to Garrett, and he brought it up, and he goes, "After you left, Josh and I were like, what happened to Colton?" Because I was so skinny. I had starved in California. I didn't have any money, dude. I was like on the beach every day. I mean, if I had any money, it was going to gas, or we would go to like Josh and I would go to like a buffet or something and just try to stuff ourselves. I was significantly like the lightest I'd ever been. I didn't think anything of it, but I guess it was enough to be like, what happened to Colton? So it does go two different ways.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the same concept of being the fat kid and then the understanding of that lifestyle and being like, oh, don't want to be there. Let's go here. Let's get in shape, and versus vice versa. I wonder if that has any significance or similarity to poor versus getting wealthy, or getting, doesn't even have to be wealthy, just getting to a point of not needing money. So it's like, I feel like I have lacked money most of my life. I've had it, but I haven't had enough. And it's like, I wonder at some point when I do get enough, if being poor puts you in a position to like not just blow your money and just be stupid with it, because it's like, I've always had money, I can just do whatever I want, it's just always there. Rather, it's like you learn these hard lessons of, I don't know, being poor, and then eventually when you do accumulate some wealth, like you're more strategic with it, or you're like more protective of it or something.
No, I mean, I think of what I would have done at 20 if I would have gotten a fortune, or, you know, like a significant amount of money, to where it's like, you can kind of do whatever you want. Like, obviously you can blow it, but you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And a lot of forgiveness, a lot of leeway. It's like, I'm pretty thankful that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm thankful I did not receive a fortune at 20 years old. And, you know, maybe I would have crashed hard and then rebuilt better, you know? I feel like even not having money, it's like I appreciate the path, lack of a better word, that I've been on, because it's like, it's whichever way, it's like, yeah, self-actualization is kind of the goal.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have been I think I would have been looking for happiness from what money can buy. And money, you know, bills paid, that can contribute to happiness. And I don't, you know, how much can a brand new truck contribute to happiness? A little bit, you know, for a while, maybe, you know, but you know, things like that, I feel like I would have fallen into the typical trap of, why am I not happy? What do I need to buy so I can be happy? To where it's like, no, if you just, you know, don't have, whether it's money or resource or anything, it's like you can, it's like a deeper level of knowing yourself, and like, what do I need to be happy?
Right.
And you don't have that money to fall back on. Because for me, it's like health. It's like working out. I'm much happier when I work out. So when I feel better, I'm more confident. And then community, you know, talking to people, and I don't know, I guess it feels good to get a compliment, you know? So then if you're doing something right, or, you know, you've been working hard in the darkness, and then you come to the light and people are like, whoa, man, you look great, or that he's such a nice guy, or, you know, anything like that, or, you know, you did this and that helped me so much, and it was nothing for me, but it was huge for you, you know, like those compliments make me want to double down and thrive even harder. Like, you know, it's what's the saying of like, judge yourself hard but don't judge anybody else, or
it's like, think deeply of the world but think shallow of yourself, or something like that.
It's something maybe like with expectations, like expect everything out of yourself but nothing out of the world. Maybe that's closer to what it is, to where it's like, yeah, I put myself through a living hell for a good reason. I'm rewarded for it. I'm healthier and I can think clearer and all that kind of stuff. But, and then not expecting anything out of the world. Expectations are weird, man. The root of all suffering, you know, from expectations. If you expect nothing, even the littlest gift is like, I didn't think I was going to get anything out of this.
Yeah.
And now I got this little gift of a compliment, or I met a new person who was bubbly and full of life, and I wasn't full of myself to where I couldn't like take them in, or I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but
no, you make me think about a series of thoughts that I've had with like what these big people or these big projects or whatever that like we're so happy that these people did this. I'm thinking of Tony Hinchcliffe. Like, thank God that guy put in the time, got made fun of. Maybe the first shows of Kill Tony sucked. You know, maybe he didn't always want to do it. Maybe he was discouraged. Like, thank God he kept going. And look at all the joy that he's brought. Just me personally versus the whole world. All the lives he's changed. Cam Patterson and William Montgomery.
You can't write a joke funnier than How Hard I'll Laugh at Kill Tony.
There's not a comedy movie or a comedy TV show that I laugh harder.
That will have me belly laughing
crying.
Kill Tony.
But I'm thinking, what if Tony didn't do that? Like, look at all the lives that would not have been changed for the positive. So then I kind of dial it down to myself and think, like, you need to do this because you don't even know the people that you're touching. Even on a small level, like a podcast, people have messaged me like, that podcast, like we said earlier, like that thing that you said really got me motivated, and I called my dad that week. I've had someone tell me that.
That's back to limits of imagination. You know, it's like you're limiting yourself because here's what I expect it to be.
Expectation.
And it's like, it can be a lot more than that.
And you just don't know. You have no idea what you say can affect people. And then vice versa. The people that have come up to me and said like, man, you know, you inspire me. You pursue your dreams. Like no one else does that. And because of that, I'm going to do this. It's like, you know how much that affects me positively? Like when I'm in a dark place and I remember so-and-so saying that to me and I go, I can keep going. At least they were positively, you know, benefited from this thing. If no one else, I had 42 listens or whatever. It's like, well, of the 42, one person really got something like, okay, I can keep going. Yeah. I can keep going. I know what I need to do. Think of Goggins. Like, what if Goggins would have just gone back to spraying for cockroaches and he's 350 pounds? Like, no, look, he went, he did what he had to do. He became Goggins. And now look at all the people's lives. I'm thinking to myself, like how much he's motivated me. I see his video or something. I see his podcast, how much he's motivated me, how much he's helped me overcome stuff. It's like, man, what if he would have not answered the call? Terrifying to me because I want to answer the call. It's a good mental framework for me to apply to my life to say like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you better do that because there are people that are depending on you to do this. And you don't even know. They might not even be born yet, but they're depending on you.
I think for me, it's being 55, which hopefully I'll be in great shape and great health and still capable of lots. But it's being at that older age and thinking like, what were you doing? Oh, you know, what were you wanted to do that instead of, you still don't know how to play piano. You still, you know, avoid eye contact with pianos because, you know, it's like this abandoned dream or something. Yeah. That thought scares the shit out of me.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And I think the community reinforcement is exactly that. It's just like a reinforcement on this is what you're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. Here's a little gift for you along the way to when I'm dragging my feet and I don't want to do it. And then somebody's like, when's the next podcast coming out? Or, you know, something like that to where it's like, okay, yeah, I guess I can do another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely the thought of, yeah, you missed it. You missed your shot and there's no going back and none of that. It's like, well, I can die pretty happily if I tried. You know, if I can look myself in the mirror and be like, hey man, you really tried, you know, whether you're still fat, but you tried, you're still this, but you tried. I mean, the fat, there's kind of no excuse. It's like you didn't try, but
try. You know, there is no try.
Yeah.
Do or do not.
Right. So it's the fear of regret or missing the potential or, you know, missing the time. So I think that's what really gets me going is you know, you have your chance.
Because the doors do close.
Doors close.
For me to be a professional fighter, that door's closed. I didn't know it was open.
Yeah.
You know? But I look at it now, I'm like, man, I would love to do that. But it's like, you're just too old. Like you just aged out. The only thing that can come from this is, I mean, no, there's a lot of pain and medical bills.
Yeah.
You know?
Defeat and misery.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's like, you know what? That door has closed. Military. I'm about, like I said, about 35. Like that part of my life, joining the military, being part of that, it's not possible anymore.
They won't
And
take
so
you.
doors do close. And so the delusion that I can do this someday is like, that door is always closing very slowly or very quickly.
I feel like the corporate world would be more appealing if it would have access to buying a house and starting
benefits.
a family and like, oh no, you get to do the corporate world and you still suffer and you still struggle and you still worry about bills and you still this and that and the other thing. It's like, okay, well, fuck all that then. I will do my own path. I'll scrape by. I don't give a shit. I'll focus on me, you know, do all the kind of cliche stuff. But at the same time, I feel very rewarded, not financially, but very rewarded in other ways, spiritually even.
Right. It's authentic.
It's
you.
What do I want to be doing? It's like this morning, I prioritized my health, and that small notion of prioritizing my health has the ripple effect of rippling into my future. Yeah. And then I do that again versus going to work at 7:30 and, you know, it works for people. So, and it's what most people do. So not to shit on the rest of the world, but it's like, you should find what is authentic to yourself and pursue that and not whatever the fuck your boss wants you to do kind of thing. So it's like, well, I'm staying authentic to myself. Here's what I want to be doing. Here's the way I want my life to be like, in such a way that when I wake up in the morning, here's what I want to be doing. Even if it's an obligation, even if it's a responsibility, it's like, that's the responsibility I want to take on. So yeah, it's like effort. And if I don't do it, then I fall behind in my category. However, but at least it's the responsibility that I have chosen and not what I fell into. I've always dug holes in the ground for my job or whatever the case is. I hate saying or whatever.
That's a very Jordan Peterson, you know, choose your suffering.
Yeah, choose your suffering.
We
all got to suffer.
There's no way out.
There's no way out.
You just get to choose.
Humanhood is suffering.
What do you want to choose? You want to choose to suffer and be out of shape and feeling like shit? Or do you want to suffer in the weight room and underneath a bar that's way too heavy? And it's like, how am I ever going to lift this? But you do. And it's up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to your choice.
Yeah.
I was talking to Dr. Hill the other day. We went over to his Courtney's mom's house. Their house sitting, they have an awesome pool in the backyard. We got pretty silly. And he was like, we were talking about, you know, creative work. He's a musician and I'm a filmmaker, writer thing. And
Everett the Gray on all your platforms.
Yeah, Spotify. But it was that we got in this conversation of something about like how difficult it is to perform creative work. And then he said something that it shook me so hard in the sense of where his position is. He took a more traditional route, took a more traditional career. It's a very noble, high level career as an ER doctor, very important in society. It gives people a lot of value in the community. It gives a lot of monetary value. It's a great, I mean, he's meant to do that, but he also has this creative drive. And to kind of paraphrase what he was saying, is just like questioning if his choice was the right choice. Maybe he's like, maybe I could be in a studio working on beats all day and I could be something, you know. I'm on the other end of that spectrum going, maybe I should have pursued, you know, our dad was a doctor. Like, well, I should have pursued what dad was doing and then I could afford to do all my stuff. But when he said that, it was like, oh, fuck. Okay. Truth is, no matter where you are, you're going to question if you should be there or not. Maybe I could be over here. Maybe I could be over there. Maybe I could be doing this. Maybe I should have done this. Don't get trapped in that. Understand it's there. Make your choice the best you can and dig in. Be, like you said, be authentic to yourself. My authentic self is this, whatever this is, you know, trying to do my own thing. Could I have pursued a different, more traditional path? Sure. I'd still be questioning. I'd still be questioning if I did the right thing. That was very spooky when he said that. That was very spooky, but also reaffirming, but also terrifying. It was very, it was like he threw a big rock at me and I was like, holy fuck, whoa, man, whoa. But in the end of it, it was good. Because it was like, oh, dig in, lock into what you've decided to do. Like, don't doubt yourself anymore from where you are. Like, don't, just go all in.
Well, and it's like living with regrets or something. It's like you are where you are today. You know, you don't get a week ago today. You get today. And of course, the rest of your life, whatever that is, the end of today or the next 50 years, you don't know that. But you do have now. You do have today.
Yeah.
So it's like reevaluate. Just, I think it's huge. You know, people just fling themselves into things without thinking. It's like evaluate where you are, you know, like find out where you are on the map before you take a direction.
I call it realigning.
Yeah, realign
with yourself.
See where you are, and there is no changing the 25 year that you had, or you know, there's no change. So like, why are you even concerned about it?
Wish I would have started earlier. Like, yeah, we all do.
Yep, but you got today. You can do it today. So anyway. It's been a great conversation.
Are you done?
I mean, I got to pee really bad. That's 2 hours. That's over 2 hours because we had 3 minutes of bad audio. Sorry about that.
What do you think of the setup?
Personally?
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think functionally it worked well. I was kind of worried about not having the table like we always used to have, but I feel like this is a nice distance. Like,
yeah.
You and I are brothers. We slept back to back, butt to butt. So like any physical distance, I will not be uncomfortable unless you're behind me, choking me out. But meaning that if there was a stranger across from me, this is
no, I think this is decent, fine. Yeah, this is totally fine. We're in an 8x10 room. So, I mean, it's, we don't have a whole lot of room to rearrange, but like as far as like professionality goes, I think it looks great. I think we could have cleaned up the table a little bit better. We got batteries hanging out here and stuff. So you know, we could have paid a little more attention to that, but you know, I think the tables look nice, chairs are comfortable.
Chairs. I was worried about the chairs, wasn't quite sure, but I could sit here for indefinitely, honestly.
Yeah,
like my back, I think the other chairs, my back would start to hurt a little bit, and they rolled. Yeah. So they kind of would cause some noise. Like these, I can shift. You know? Yeah. And it, no problem. Like whatever. This we never really use the arms. Look at this freaking. Your arm is so extended.
Well, I pushed it way back because I wanted it down further.
Yeah.
So, but I mean that's adjustable, easily adjustable. You can have it closer to you, further away. I mean, we'll see how it looks on camera, but. You know, the feel of it, I was concerned about heat, just being in a small room and talking. I'm a little warm now. I got a little pit sweat, but like I'm not like dying for a breeze, which we have the ceiling fan, which is nice. But I don't think, I mean, 2+ hours in, if we wanted to go further, I'd go take a leak and then could easily keep going. All the cameras seem to do well.
Yeah.
We can discuss strategies on that. I don't know if you're leaving that in here or what. I'm probably okay with leaving that in here.
No, I can't leave that in here. I got to kind of figure that out. I might put some tape on the ground or something.
Yeah, well, I think if anything, it'll just get sharper and sharper as we go. But for our first one, I think it felt great. If we were having our whiskey, you know, that'd be no problem. Sure, because I enjoy drinking on the podcast. I think it loosens things up.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you forget that any of this is being recorded.
Yeah.
Which is also why it's like my arm reverses to where I can push that. I guess it does that, but that's not low enough.
Oh, I see.
Because I like it when it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Well, these tables have a metal arm right there that's diagonal. Maybe we can figure out the positioning because
something like
that would be good because I can't see the computer like if we were going to watch something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, little tweaks to work on.
It's like I like when it's hidden and out of your way, so you forget that it's even there. But I mean, I know you got to be pretty up on it for proper audio and everything. But no, I think it's awesome. I think it'll do us well.
Yes, I agree.
Figure out our backgrounds, and then maybe different shooting angles, or maybe it doesn't even matter that much. I mean,
Probably not. I mean, I don't. My most podcasts are same angle pretty much, just different lighting and whatnot.
Different lighting. I mean, like, what else are you going to do with your angles here?
Right.
You need the face shot.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the wide, but you need the face shot or just the wide.
Mm-hmm.
But that can be pretty slow if you're watching. You know, I like seeing the changing of the angle and everything. So.
Yeah. Let's say overall, pretty successful.
Yeah.
As long as the audio's good, video turns out good.
I hope you all enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. I am Casye Seifert with the Best Case Scenario.
I am Sci-Fi and Friends.
And I love you, brother.
And I love you too. And to commensurate, is that how you say that word? Commensurate.
Let's roll with it.
Okay. I have purchased a nice bottle of Scotch.
Limit.
I know you love Scotch. So congratulations on
We're going to pop this open?
go ahead. Yeah. Congratulations on restarting the Best Case Scenario, and
It's been
also
too long.
also thank you for helping me get my podcast restarted, because I couldn't afford the studio on my own. We kind of decided to split the studio, and I think it's going to work out well. It's a pretty cheap studio overall, but when you don't make any money doing the podcast, when you spend money doing a podcast,
Passion project, as they say.
Boy. And your wife wants a house and you want to start a family, it's like, oh boy, it's hard to spend that money. So splitting it's awesome. But yes, I knew you like Scotch. That one's in a rum casket, so I thought that was cool, because if you look at the bourbon that I got, the Redemption bourbon, it is also rum cast. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Cheers, brother,
Cheers.
to podcasting and community and
Taking over the world.
taking over the world.
What do you think?
It thrives in the afterbirth.
Okay.
Don't you think so? It's like couple seconds after it's down is kind of where
fruity
it
flavor
like
shows up.
it almost like flares.
Yeah.
Flares up.
That is not a joke. He is accurately describing the Scotch.
Sweet and tropical notes.
Very the
Is a little
flavor,
sweeter.
I would say the flavor that shows up is a sweet, like, I would almost say grapefruitish.
Yeah, it's like a pearish or some I'm no connoisseur, but I do love a good
What did you say?
good
pear?
whiskey.
It is very pear.
Pear?
I burped a little bit. That's straight up pear.
Yeah.
Does it say anything about pear?
Go ahead. Just sweet and tropical. Crazy that's just from the cask.
Yeah.
Like that's Scotch, and then they put it in a rum cask.
Honestly, if you would have given me that just in the glass, I would not have thought it was Scotch.
Probably, yeah. I tend to agree.
There's no peatiness to it at all.
Yeah.
That I picked up. There could be, someone else might say something different, but
Yeah.
I would say, oh, that's a great bottle of bourbon. Sweet. I don't think I would say it's rum if I didn't know. Rum is
No. Rum would be way sweeter.
sweeter and it's more spicy.
Yeah.
I know there's spicy rum and stuff.
Like
but
a subtler spice.
But I mean,
more
it's
of
like
a tongue spice than
more-
after breath spice. Because that was like, as soon as it was down, you take your next breath.
Yeah.
That's where that popped for me.
Is afterbirth the correct terminology?
No,
okay.
that's
I totally believed you.
that's after a baby, and then they birth the, I don't know, placenta and everything.
Eating the placenta, that's fucking crazy. I don't know why you would do that.
Tune in next time for our talks on placenta eating.
I know that's full of stem cells. I'm not eating it. Fuck that.
Do they eat it? They don't eat it raw.
I think they boil it.
I think they boil it.
God, it's even worse. Just eat it raw. Fuck,
Yeah,
I don't
can
know.
you think of that smell?
Oh, no. Nope. Crazy.
With the right seasoning.
What the fuck?
How drunk am I after the bar? Are we taking out that afterbirth from the freezer?
Oh my God. No, it's not. I just no. Oh God, no. But that would be kind of funny.
To each their own.
That would be funny to put into like a comedy movie, like a Hangover. It's like, where's that placenta? Like, huh? What do you mean? that steak, that flat steak the flat iron steak that we ate last night. You've seen the TikToks where the kids are eating cereal and they're like, where's the breast milk?
Oh yeah.
And they're just hammering it. And like, that's mom's breast milk or whatever.
Like, did you see that it was in a different container? You didn't think?
Oh, I'd breast milk all day over placenta.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
That's totally fine with me. Anyway. So great podcast.
Very fun. Really excited for the next ones. I'm glad I can start scheduling guests again.
Oh yeah, I feel the same way. Like there were several people I wanted to reach out to, but I know they'd be excited, and it's like I can't give them a date.
Yeah,
I need to kind of feel it out. I told Ryan, he's very excited, but it's like just let me get one in with Casey. We'll feel it out. We'll like our audio issue at the first, like we'll get out the bugs. We'll make sure everything looks good. Then after that, like you said, balls to the wall.
Yeah,
everybody and anybody.
Really nice. Which I don't think we'll have many scheduling conflicts.
I don't think so either.
I mean,
we're both doing one a week.
I mean, I wouldn't mind more. I wouldn't mind stockpiling.
I mean, but
trickling them out.
I mean, yes, but like at the very least,
at the very least, it'd be one a week,
and we could even do it the same day.
Yeah, same day. But like even this, we're going to be closer to 2.5. We said 2. Sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want to shut it down.
Right.
And like for us, that's what we were talking about yesterday or this morning or something. It's like leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
We don't have to discuss every topic on the planet.
Right.
But with somebody that you're not going to sit down with again, we'll have another podcast eventually.
Right.
No doubt about it. Maybe our own show kind of thing. But for somebody that's like, I don't know when this is the next time I'm going to sit down with you.
Yeah.
And you're still going and you're like, guest being eager and like, let's have another drink. Okay. It's like, I don't want to shut that down. I want to keep going.
No, there's several of my guests that are from Springfield and like, they're going to come down. It's like an 1.5-hour drive.
Yeah.
2 hours. We got to cut it short. Like if they're flying through it, we'll go. Yeah. We will go.
So, I mean, the only thing I see is maybe like Friday, Saturday, since that's when most people are off. And like, I've had people say no to like a Monday because it's like, it's Monday, dude. I work all day and I don't want to go podcast. I got work the next day. It's like, okay, I totally get that. Yeah. So Thursday through Saturday is usually where mine are scheduled, but I like these midday ones. We started about noon. Mm-hmm. I like them just because, I don't know, it's like you're not wearing the whole day on you.
Yeah.
But I think that's also where alcohol comes really nicely into play with, like, gets you re-loosened and it gets you, don't worry about the day. It's already passed. Like, don't worry about it. But, like, here we came in caffeinated. We're, like, still on the rise.
Yeah.
So that was.
It's definitely different.
It's different.
Yeah. I like it. It's a different energy. I can tap into a different energy.
Yeah.
If we're going down, it's nice because I'm thinking there's no other responsibilities today. Like after the podcast, I'm going to get in the truck and go home.
That's true.
And have dinner and watch Kill Tony. You know, there's nothing today. It's like I have things on the agenda, it's not pulling my mind at all. Like, they're not that pressing, but I do have things to do. I'm not going to drink more of this Caribbean, even though I want to and get silly and, like I could talk to you for the rest of my life.
If we were drinking that, we should have started at the beginning.
Yeah.
I figured at least having a glass is appropriate for popping the cherry on the new studio and like you said, just reviving both of our podcasts because they've both been in the dust for a while now. So this will be a co-release, so you can watch it on Best Case Scenario YouTube or Sci-Fi and Friends.
That's just Colton Seifert's. It's IamColt YouTube.
IamColt YouTube. And are you on Spotify? And
I am, yes.
A couple of those other ones?
I am on Spotify.
Google Podcast. Oh, Google Podcast is dead. Oh. No more. YouTube Music inherited Google Podcast.
I think I only do Spotify. Okay. YouTube.
Spotify. YouTube is where I'm trying to grow, so that's where I push everybody.
Me too, as well. The one thing I do want to figure out, though, and I haven't done a podcast since this has kind of picked up steam, is video on Spotify.
Oh.
Because before it wasn't. They had Rogan, and Rogan was the only one that could do video, and now it's like every podcast.
It worked like half the time.
And it worked half the time. It was
Spotify.
horrible.
I hate Spotify so much.
It's got some... I like it.
I know a lot of people like it. I can't stand it.
But if I could figure that out, because I have both video streams, that'd be great. But YouTube is definitely the main place. It's the easiest to upload. Everybody's got access to it. Like, you have to pay for Spotify, I think. I don't know. Not everybody uses Spotify.
Yeah.
Everybody uses YouTube.
Everybody uses YouTube.
Yeah. So definitely YouTube is my main spot. And the other thing I'm excited about with these is that we're using I'm using higher end cameras. You've always used the 4K. But before I used, what was it? It turned out to be 720. Yeah.
I knew it looked like not good.
No, it's not.
I knew it didn't look good.
It worked fine for the first, first several, I don't know, I probably did 60 podcasts with them. But doing it like this and then translating it to a clip on social, that's what I'm really looking forward to. I've seen you do it with DeAndre.
That was my best one.
It was great. It was fantastic. It made me so interested because I didn't listen to the episode, but like listening to that piece was so interesting. I know DeAndre, but now I know him even better.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's really compelling. If the whole fucking episode is like that, that's a great episode. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that kind of stuff, like clips. And I think that's the one thing Sci-Fi and Friends was missing before. Yeah, I had the long ass episodes, but I was never very good at the clips.
Yeah.
But now with a little experience and whatnot, I think that's going to change.
Well, and with him, like, it's such a buzzkill when you have audio issues, camera issues, because it's like, hang on.
Yeah.
And then you got to deal with it. That's the problem of not having a producer.
Right.
But like with him, I had a few camera issues. So it was like, we can just settle the camera issues.
Yeah.
Get them out of the way, which as of now, we have not had any. So we'll see if the
red light's been on the whole time.
See if the data's corrupt or some stupid shit like that happens. It looks like audio did fine. We caught the hiccup at the beginning, but otherwise everything fine. So it's like, if we can just get these hiccups out of the way,
right, to
where the conversation can just go. Eventually I just gave up with DeAndre. I think it was the GoPro. It was a GoPro and that. Huh. There was two of them that just, there's like 3 times, and finally I was just like, I'm done. Yeah. We're just going to talk. If it's audio only, it's audio only. I got most of it on video, but it's like, dude, it's such a, and like, I'm not going to call myself a professional, but it's like, you want to portray a professional atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you want your guests to feel like they're important and that, you know, you're taken care of here, and don't worry about anything. Everything's going and fine.
Ideally, you want your guests to not see any of this.
Yeah.
You want them to forget that thing's looking, it is pretty intimidating when I look at it, but like, you want them to forget all that, and you want them to be with you, talking with you. Which
is fun. When my first 6 podcast was a mobile setup. So each time it's different. Each time it's in their house. It was fun to like see their reaction of like, God, all this goes into it. And it's like, cause you know, I guess the GoPro will show a little bit of what we're looking at, but you know, it's big ass balloon light. We've got these lights back here that you hopefully don't notice. You know, you just see the nice lighting and tripods and camera arms or mic arms and all that. It's like, there's a lot more than you would think, which I've had people say, I want to start a podcast, and I want to tell them, oh, pull out your phone. And it's like, it's more difficult than I thought it was going to be for a high production.
Right. For a decent production.
Yeah. I can't even say high production. For a decent production. Hell, we had to buy tables. You've had this iMac forever. So that's not, we had a few things kind of donated. Right. Lights. I'm just sitting in my room.
Well, we've been doing it for over a decade. Sci-Fi and Friends it started as BOD. It was over a decade. I mean, it was 20.
Oh, the BOD.
It was before I was married. So 2015 is when I got married. It was 20. I was working at Red Oak, so it's like 2011 or 2012 when we started the BOD podcast. So
it's one of those things that, like, if you want to do it, start. Yeah. But that's what I tell people with PC building anymore. Oh, yeah. Buy a full system. Yeah. It's cheap, that's fine. Buy a full system. Don't start unless money's not an option. Yeah. Then build for sure. Yeah. But if money is an issue, get your budget. You know, you need probably at least $500 for like a reasonable setup, and then from there,
Yeah.
It is years, you know, it's like the parts aren't cheap. And if you want the good stuff, they make you pay for it. But trickle it in to where it's like things have just trickled in to the podcast setup.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, go back to our literal childhood bedroom.
Yeah.
And we're holding mics.
We're holding shotgun mics.
Shotgun mics.
Shotgun mics.
Yeah, that's where I'm thankful for my first episode. It is rough, but I love it because I was not concerned with it. I knew I had to push record.
Yeah.
That was my only prerogative. You hit record today. As soon as you get these guests lined up, date and everything, hit record. That's all I was focused on. And I'm so glad I did, because then I watch it. This needs addressed. This needs addressed. You know, and then the next one, this needs addressed. This needs, you know, it just slowly gets a little better. Yeah. Did I need these lights? Not really. But look, we're using them. So good. You know, I'm glad I got them. Just little things like that, to where if money's no option, get the best shit and you're going to have an awesome podcast. Well, not really, but you can have good production through your podcast.
Right.
But if money is an issue, start somewhere. Buy a used setup on Marketplace, you know, it's like anything in the world. If you want it, it's out there.
Yeah.
You just got to go grab it.
I mean, even pushing record on your phone. I've told people, like, what can I do to get started? I was like, get a phone, have the other person have a phone, each hit record, clap. You're going to have to do some post. Like, there's no way around that.
There's no way around post.
You have to do post, but this is going to make it easier. You take their audio and your audio, put it together. One girl did. Cheyenne did. She did. Good job. But it's like, if you do that, that's better than not doing it, because you don't have the stuff.
I'll tell you, if you run it through an AI enhancer, Adobe in particular, holy crap. Because
unbelievable.
The first podcast I did not do that. I think the first maybe 2.
Yeah.
I did not do that. And then you were like, I have this, it's a subscription, it's money, it's all that shit. But as soon as I did that, it's like the audio quality went from 10 to 90. You know, it was just
Unreal.
like, it was an unbelievable difference, because I thought, well, the mics do all the work. And it's like, they do a lot. They capture a lot, but they're, you know, what they play back might not be what we are hearing from each other.
Right.
You know, it's not that nice, deep, crisp vocalization. And if you do some post, it can do wonders. So,
which goes back to the very first thing we were talking about. Everybody wants to be creative. They just don't want to do that last little bit to produce or whatever. And it's just today's age. Like, everybody's got to be a content creator. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Tucker's a barber. He's got to make TikToks.
I was so happy to see him.
My God,
having a TikTok. He was one of the few that's like, so-and-so's now on TikTok. Like, Tucker's on TikTok?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I don't know how many times throughout the years I've told him, like, dude, you just film your stuff. And he would sometimes, and he would other times. And a lot of it was on his Snapchat. So it's like only his friends are seeing, and it goes away. It's like TikTok. Perfect, dude. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, he'll be fine. He's going to make it. Like, he's going to have a following here very shortly. Yeah. And he'll be great.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like the camping trips I go on. It's like, I don't want to take.
Where's the line?
Where's the line?
That's what I want to know. Because it's like, I would love to vlog more with Kelsey and like, I'm documenting our married life. But how much of that is adulterating the moment to where it's like, this is a moment between me and my wife?
That's something I think about with. And I see his stuff online often, and it seems so fabricated. Yeah. It's like, I know him. It's the where's the line thing.
Yeah.
Are you having fun? Are your kids cringing on your behalf because you're, look, we're having so much fun on this night, being sober and everything, you know? So yeah, I think there is a line. And I think before I was just looking for YouTube videos. So like, I'm planning another camp trip this winter on the coldest day possible, coldest days. I don't think I want to take anything. Yeah. You know, it's like,
I think it's just a personal discretion.
I just want it to be Roxy and I, and just have a few days out in the wild, no cell service, survival, eating steaks and eggs, and just enjoying my time in solitude and silence. and hopefully coming back better for it, rather than, all right, I need to set up the camera for this. And it's like, I don't know, if you don't enjoy it, that should be a pretty good signal that don't worry about filming. Because I did not enjoy filming my previous camp trip. I would have rather but I was just looking for content.
Right.
So it's like, this time I don't have a camp channel. So
yeah, right.
I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to enjoy my time and get out of it what I am not seeking, but like, you know, whatever reason it is, I want to go struggle in the wilderness for a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to just go do that and not worry about documentation, even though it's might be fun to watch, or you know, even fun to
Could be
remember
beneficial
for me.
to somebody, you know.
Could be beneficial.
The insights that you get on a camping trip like that are pretty deep.
Pretty
at
deep.
least personally.
I'll do if I have to, I'll take notes.
Yeah.
Stay away from electronics, take notes, and then come back and I got a podcast.
See,
and
that might be more beneficial because of the way you present it.
More beneficial to me. I mean,
well, to everybody, because it's not getting in the way of you experiencing things.
Right.
It's not getting in the way, like, oh, I gotta set my tripod up. Hey everyone, here's the fire.
Sure.
You know, you're allowing yourself to be out there alone, hear the thoughts. Like, I know exactly what I've been there. And then you're able to condense, you're able to process, you're able to communicate, and you come back and sit in a studio like this and you say, I'm going to tell you about my camp trip. Like, that could be so much more powerful than you, like, by the fire, you know, or whatever.
It's almost like, a recollection of how you put it together versus the reality of how it was.
Yeah.
You know, Jocko's war stories or something. It's like, if you watched it, you might just be horrified and take nothing of it.
Yeah.
But the way he presents it is what's compelling.
Right.
And what he leaves out and what he emphasizes, that's what's important.
The storytelling.
Not the reality of the situation of it being a war zone of horrific proportions.
Yeah. So true.
So anyway.
So true.
This was fun. I'm ready for more.
Me too.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Awesome. Well, Hurricane Helena, what is it?
Has already happened.
If you're listening to this, it's already happened. But,
it's about to happen now. I believe this evening.
2:00. They said.
Okay.
When
So
the winds begin.
It's like happening now.
It's happening now.
It is like beginning.
By 8:00 tonight is the full extent of the destruction.
By the time you're hearing this, you'll know more about it than we do.
I saw a tweet that said one of the main concerns I have about this hurricane, I don't even know what the name is called, is that it exits Florida as a hurricane. It enters
Good Lord.
as a hurricane. Usually it dies down in tropical storms.
Yeah.
It exits
breaks up.
Florida as a hurricane. It just goes over the whole thing.
Wild.
What? Anyway, pray for good old Florida.
And we could use some rain here in Kansas. So send us up just a little.
Not the
just 2-3 days.
Horrific eye of the storm.
2-3 days of moisture. We're dry here.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.
Inaugural podcast, Sci-Fi and Friends, Best Case Scenario. Look us up on all the social media channels, and hope you have a great week. Peace.